Folks, we are live. Welcome into your Tuesday night show here on WCBS. I'm your host, Jeff Hicks, and with me tonight is my co-hosts. First up, all the way from the Rippaverse, excuse the poor sentence structure. You know him, you love him. Say hello to Andy Andrew.
What is going on? How y'all doing out there? Thank you for joining us tonight. I know there's a lot going on this week, but we appreciate you having your butts in the seats for the best show on a Tuesday night. That is the High Council, as y'all know. So hail to the chat, hail to Jeff and Script, and let's settle in and have a good time.
Let's. But
as good of a time as we can, given all the news this week.
Yeah, well, before we do any of that, folks, let's say hello to our other co-host for the evening. All the way from the Great White North, say hello to the Script Doctor.
Hello. So happy to be here. We've had some time off, but it's great to come back, especially tonight, even though news is strange. It's still fun. Let's have a fun time for everyone out there listening.
Yeah, folks, we are going to have a good time. Hopefully, I'm coming in a little clearer with my microphone because I have my high-quality mic back. So hopefully I sound much better than I have been in the last few weeks. I guess we have a new stream set up. I'm just playing around with StreamYards. What's been happening, folks, I don't know who follows the tech sector, but I do, because when you run a YouTube channel, you have to be abreast of everything that's going on in the world. You can't just say, I'm going to stick to Twitter and talk to my camera. You got to employ all sorts of new things to stay relevant, to keep your workflow moving. You'll notice that WCBS has been in your feed every day because of that. So while things have been great around here, welcome to all of our new people, this new setup is just from StreamYards. It's a roundabout way of saying, since we pay for it, they're trying to entice us to join their $89 a month tier. Good luck. But we get to use it until our subscription ends, and I decide to go to the lower tier because $90 a month to stream?
$90 a month?
No, man.
It's not
worth
worth
it.
it.
Your damn mind.
Sure, we're in the Brainiac logo formation, but come on, that's not worth $90 a month.
No. And, you know, if we're feeling that we can be back to our old shapes, we can be squares. Retro. We can even have rounded or non-rounded edges.
I mean, sometimes it can be hip to be square.
That's true. Do you like Huey Lewis in the News?
I love Huey Lewis in the News.
For my taste, but
I'm not going to I adore them.
They're hip to be square, man. So yeah.
I love that song. So, folks, we're going to be talking about a couple things tonight. Now, look, we're up against the debate, so it's going to be a very informal show. This show will probably go away after the stream. So, catch us live, catch us early, and hang out the whole time. We have our super chat from Shrebbles08 already. Thank you, Shrebbles08. He says, in honor of James Earl Jones, the word of the day is meats. Arby's, we have the meats. Fistful of meats. How Stella got her meat back and meat off.
Oh, for a few meats more.
Those last two feel like they could both be the same type of topic.
Yeah.
Meat off and then her meat back. Meat busters.
Yeah. Well, you got Meathead, you know. Meathead.
That's a meat machine.
Ew.
That is stanky.
Yeah, it would be, wouldn't it?
Thelma and Meat. There we go.
Air meat.
The good, the bad, and the meaty.
The mighty meat.
Meat
meaty ducks.
Bigger, longer, and uncut.
Meat too, Electric Boogaloo. It had to be said.
Meat from the Crypt.
Oh.
Spooky. Okay. We're getting close to Halloween, folks. Get ready for Schlocktoberfest. Ooh.
Meat.
Lethal meat.
Lethal meat, you say?
Lethal meat. Wow.
And then, of course, classic Beverly Hills meat.
Everybody loves it. Classy. It's a fish out of water. It's a meat out of water story.
Yes, it's definitely. It's a surf and turf.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
See, folks, that's what you get here with us on Tuesday nights. Lots of meat. Like getting meat. Thank you, Shrevel.
There you go. There it is.
I still like meat off. Like I can just imagine Nicolas Cage and John Travolta having a cook-off. And yes, that's what we're talking about.
Here's one for you: Meteor Man.
I see what you did there. It's got to be more successful than the real movie because the Meteor Man movie was a flop.
Oh gosh,
I think my two favorite SNL jokes from that stupid Hollywood Minute skit with David Spade is Meteor Man with the ability to leave theaters in a single weekend, and the best one of all time was when the picture of Eddie Murphy popped up and he says, "Look, kids, a falling star." That still hurts Eddie Murphy's feelings. He brought it up recently. I was like,
he
ouch.
did, yeah.
Damn.
I love Eddie Murphy. He's much funnier and better than David Spade could have hoped to have been. But a good burn's a good burn. You got to admit when it's a good burn.
It was a good burn. That was a good burn.
We got Shang-Chi and the Legends of the Ten Meats. The Meat Family. Dude, Where's My Meat? Event Meat Horizon.
I like the Dude, Where's My Meat? That's pretty good.
Meat Widow. How about Meat Window? It's like Alfred Hitchcock movie, and his name is the perfect name to direct Meat Window.
North by North Meat.
Oh man, Cary Grant's finest work. Chef's kiss. There you go. Double entendre. So, folks, send in your meat titles all night long. Thank you to Shrubbles08. Now, folks, we are going to pay tribute to James Earl Jones. We're going to talk about some of our favorite moments, his voice, his iconic nature, and how the original cast of Star Wars is only, we only have Luke and Han Solo left if you really think about it. So, well, of the main cast. Yes, Wedge and Biggs are still with us, I believe.
Well, I mean, Anthony Daniels is still alive.
Oh, yeah. I keep forgetting C-3PO is still around.
That's okay. Everybody should.
Yeah. He's insufferable. Like, in my giant box of, I definitely didn't buy these when I was in college, Star Wars figures that I pulled out for that photo today, there's like one C-3PO in here. He's just not relevant to me at all. So, sorry, Anthony Daniels. I'm thankful you're still with us. Respect. So, folks, let's have some fun tonight, too. Send in some weird questions. Let's make this a fun show. Like I said, we're going to honor James Earl Jones. We're going to talk about him, but we got to have fun. You got to remember, with loss comes new life, and let's have some fun tonight because James Earl Jones would want you to have fun too. But if Google would like to work for me, I would love to get you a picture up here.
If it wants to behave.
Well, I typed in James Early Jones, and I did not get what I wanted. So, guys, let's just get this out of the way. What was your first introduction to James Earl Jones? For me, it was not Star Wars. It was The Lion King. I had never...
Same.
I hadn't seen Star Wars until 1995 or maybe 96. But I saw The Lion King the first day it dropped on videotape. My grandma had it for me. But I
saw it in theaters.
Oh, you saw The Lion King in theaters? Nice.
It was one of the first two films I saw in theaters, the first being Aladdin. My dad took me to both.
As well. I saw the Addams
I first saw him. I mean, I first heard his voice in Star Wars, but James Earl Jones was not officially credited as the voice of Darth Vader until the special editions. So I had no idea it was him. I first saw him in The Sandlot, and then Field of Dreams, and then Hunt for Red October. Cool guy. And of course, most legendarily, Conan the Barbarian. I mean,
I think the first thing Sorry, what? Go ahead.
Where he gets his head chopped off at the end.
Yes. But he also turns into a huge snake.
Yeah.
I think the first time I saw him actually acting, so not voice acting, so the first time I saw him, just his actual person in a film, was Field of Dreams. Because I think I saw that before I saw The Sandlot. And that's probably to date my favorite role of his, Terrence Mann. I think that's my favorite for him. I love that movie.
My favorite's Darth Vader. I'm going to be basic. Come on now. But I do like...
That is pretty basic, but he is great.
Jockey Chauffeur is awesome as well. I mean, I don't like baseball. And I grew up playing it, and so I watched The Sandlot and Field of Dreams as a kid, and they didn't really stick with me. It was just one of those situations where I saw it, it was fine, but I did not go back to watch, was it Benny the Jet Rodriguez every year, or, I'm not wearing a You're Killing Me Small shirt. I liked sports movies like Happy Gilmore. I know, not a real sports movie. But no,
The Replacements is really good.
Is that Keanu Reeves, right?
Yeah.
Yep. I like Any Given Sunday. That's a good one. So, I mean, the voice will live on forever. Now, Script, was there some kind of story that came out a while ago where he gave his voice, now that he's gone, they can use it, or is that another actor?
Well, no, he sold his Darth Vader voice to Disney or to be used, not his actual voice, but just the type of voice he uses for Darth Vader. That he sold away. So that's part of his family's estate. So I guess his family would be getting residuals on every time they use that voice for future Star Wars projects. So he did sell that part of it. However, like any if he was in any other productions that has yet to be announced that he either acted in or voiced in, that doesn't infringe on Disney's rights for whatever, for Darth Vader side of things. But yeah, he did the same thing that Majel Barrett kind of did. So before Majel Barrett died, she actually recorded hours of her voice for the Star Trek Online video game.
Mm-hmm.
And that library has been experimented with to actually generate a new computer voice for, if not future Star Trek productions, something in general that will be used by a computer program, whoever wants to pay the Roddenberry family to use it in the future. But it's basically, she was really happy to do that because even though she was, Nurse Chapel and Loxana Troy, people loved her computer voice. It was very nurturing and comforting and nice. And and so she recorded, not only did they pull her original recordings from the Next Generation, but all the recordings that she did afterwards to try and make have enough data there to do essentially a deep fake of her voice for future stuff. And they can do it, but for some reason they haven't used it yet, probably because they don't want to pay Eugene Roddenberry, Rod Roddenberry money for it, because he owns it. But with the James Earl Jones situation, he brokered a deal where he basically sold a license to his voice for Darth Vader for all future Star Wars projects that Disney will produce. And it's not necessarily owned by Disney. It's technically owned by Lucasfilm. So if Disney were to ever one day sell Lucasfilm or what have you, the new owners would have access to that voice as well. So it's all compartmentalized there.
How do you feel about that? Do you think that's a good thing or a bad thing?
I mean, it was his choice to do it. So I think the fact that it was his decision to make and it wasn't coerced, he wasn't told he has to do it or anything of that nature, I think that's fine. It wasn't the studio stealing it and then trying to say we own the rights to it because you signed some sort of contract that had a hidden clause in it that
you signed up for Disney Plus.
Well, that's a more complicated thing. Because when I read the article, as far as I knew, that restaurant was renting property at the resorts, is not technically owned by Disney. So, but either way, it's Disney Plus should not be saying that you as a user should be abdicating rights to sue in case of a violation of your personal space or harm.
To answer my own question, I like it because I am a stickler for movie accuracy. So when I buy any kind of movie merchandise that has like sound effects, it's got to be from the real thing. I'll never forget as a kid, they had a Chip Hazard with a non-Tommy Lee Jones voice. And I had it because it was the only one that was out. But then later they had the Tommy Lee Jones one. I was like, Mom, I got to get the same toy again. It has a different voice. And she said yes. So that's the Chip Hazard that lives with it. But the long story short is Darth Vader, yes, David Prowse played him. Yes, Bob Anderson did the stunts. Yes, Hayden Christensen wore the suit later. But the voice is Darth Vader. And you can have anybody in a costume. You can have anybody do this or point or act like they can lightsaber duel. But you need the voice. And so even though I don't like Disney Star Wars at all, it is cool that the real voice of Darth Vader will be preserved. And that's kind of how, like, if you have this weird Frankenstein technology, that's the best way to do it. Do it for something cool. Like, I'm not going to lie. If there was a future Marvel thing where it's like you play this video game and the voice of Stan Lee is narrating it and it's great. It's like Stan Lee's in the room. Fine. Because those are cool voices that should live on forever. And you know what? I want to ask you guys this too in the chat and you guys as well in the panel. What are some other famous iconic voices that you would like to kind of live on forever? You could say, I don't know, buy a soundboard of Harrison Ford. He's like, hey, you got a phone call, kid. And it sounds just like he's talking to you. Like, what are some other iconic voices?
Peter Cullen, Lauren Green, are two.
Morgan Freeman, Liam Neeson, Keith David.
Oh, Keith David.
David's a great one.
Keith David's voice is like, so freaking good.
It's like smooth jazz, man. That's what.
Yeah.
Wait till you meet him in person. It's like that in real life, and you're just like, this is weird. It's like I'm listening to a recording. It's perfect.
Well, the weird thing is that although you can kind of replicate the voice, you can never really fully capture the performance. Because I've seen other people use the James Earl Jones voice to alter their own selves, and they don't have the enunciation that James Earl Jones does. They don't have the pacing that he does with certain roles. It's a hard thing to master. So it'll always feel a little bit removed, but there will be a comfort knowing that it is that voice. Like that's the only thing that you can't recapture, unfortunately.
Ooh, Sean Connery is a good one. Now, the problem is, Dave, is it young Sean Connery or old Sean Connery? Because there's a very distinct difference.
Yeah, the old Sean Connery is more Scottish.
Yeah. I think most people want like Last Crusade Sean Connery. I'd like Goldfinger Sean Connery. Very different.
I'd be one of those other people. Last Crusade Sean Connery would definitely be
Most
my
people
choice.
would.
I
Ooh,
freaking love that movie.
Kit from Knight Rider, aka Mr. Feeney. I'd like Mr. Feeney's voice as
Oh yeah, it's so unique.
You know, it would actually be oddly comforting if in the future of these smart homes you could just have like your favorite TV character be like, "Wake up, it's time to go to work," and you're like, "Oh, okay, Mr. Feeney, I'll try better or something." Like,
I don't want to be
smart home with all
resentful to
these voices
celebrities
like
telling me to wake up.
Right?
Here's the thing: it's a brilliant service. People would pay money to get like the James Earl Jones, I don't know, security alarm. Like, people would pay money for this shit. I know they
Get
would.
out of my house! You know, Darth Vader screaming at
Yeah.
it.
Get out, motherfucker! Like, you're like gonna run away if you hear James Earl Jones yell at you. Come on now.
I mean, to that end, then you'd have to get Sam Jackson.
Yeah, I think I would hire Sam.
Get up, mother!
Well, you can just cameo him now to have him yell that into the phone, and then you can just put it into your security alarm.
Yeah.
Get out of my house!
Can you imagine being a freaking robber trying to bust into somebody's house, and then like the alarm goes off, and that's what gets blared into your ears?
Followed by, "Yes, you deserve to die, and I hope you burn in hell."
Yeah.
Oh God, what a great. That's another voice. There we go. It's perfect. Speaking of voices, Freddie, I did know that Arsenio Hall was the voice of Winston. Did you know that Ernie Hudson signed up or tried to get the role, and they said he didn't sound enough like the character? So
yes, that was just retarded.
Yeah, I was. Come on now.
Doesn't make any sense.
No. We also did lose the voice of Master Splinter. He passed away, as well as the famous comic book artist John Cassidy. He died yesterday. He was only 52. I haven't read about what happened to him. But folks, if you don't know the name, you definitely know the work. He's done countless Marvel covers, countless pieces of art. I mean, he did the Star Wars relaunch in 2015. So he was a heavy hitter comic book artist. You name a character, Captain America, he touched him. He drew
He's
them
drawn
all.
him.
Yeah.
Yeah. What this week is just a lot of actors and just like artists have passed. It's weird.
Yeah, well, we're getting to that point, you know.
People are getting older.
Last year was a lot of them too. The year before that also. I mean, the sad nature is that we are of the age where those men were in their 30s to 50s when we were kids watching them. Now they're pushing the age of, punching out their clock. And we're paying way more attention to it than and our parents went through the same cycle, and their parents too. And that'd probably be as far back as it goes, because film and television didn't really exist at that point.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're going through that. What's terrible is that the people that are passing away now are of the last movie star generation.
Yeah.
And there's no one really of this current generation to follow up.
No.
When Tom Cruise passes away, that'll be the end of it.
Yeah,
honestly.
But that'll be in like 100 years.
I hope so. I want Mission Impossible 23.
I want one more Mission Impossible and then call it a day. I like them, but I feel like the last one was good, but it definitely feels like there's not much gas left in that tank. Let him just ride off into the sunset. He doesn't want to become the Fast and the Furious. I hate those movies now, and I used to love them.
I had difficulty liking them to begin with.
I was 13 when it came out. I thought
Point Break is way better.
I played the video games. Yes, Point Break is the same movie as the Fast and the Furious. It has a better cast, but the cars were cool, man. Like,
cars were cool. That's fine. I hated the idea that they made the term NOS instead of nitro. The term, because nitro was what they actually said, because it's nitrous oxide. It's not NOS. NOS is a stupid drink you get at the corner store that doesn't do anything for you. But like, yeah, I mean, I remember when I was in the audience. I was in the theater when the audience groaned when they talked about we drink Corona here and only Corona. It's like, oh yeah, this is a cheesy movie.
Sorry, the chat caught me off guard. Tom Cruise dying is a funny joke. Yeah, Tom Cruise can't die. He's invincible. He is a. It is what it is. But no, Fast and the Furious movies are hokey as hell. We don't I don't know, what is it? I don't need friends, I got family, and all that other crap we play here. So
that was their gimmick, man. That's how they cornered the Latin market, and that's why they keep making those movies, because they're guaranteed audience. Because as long as you say family, you make it central. That's where they show up. And if Blue Beetle did that, they probably would have made a little bit more money instead of insulting, a Latin father who literally sat on his butt instead of actually working side hustles like he normally would have in that situation.
I didn't hate that movie. So many people wanted to shit on it. I was more entertained by that than I was.
I haven't watched it. I had no interest.
I watched it with my buddy just to see what it was like, because we were the only people in the IMAX screening, which was nice because you felt like you were a millionaire, just chilling back.
Stretch out that wingspan.
Yeah. They have the double seats. You can kind of put up the arm. It's like a little couch. It was nice. Just getting ready for my future, at the WCBS estate, where we won't do any live streams from there. It'll just be like I'll show you a picture of what it might look like, but it won't be the real place. Blue Beetle was solid and fine. I agree with that. I agree. Hello,
I've heard that take from a lot of people. I just
you're not really missing out by not rushing out. It just, it is what it is. Xavier to God, thank you. He says, R.I.P. to the baddest man in the galaxy, far, far away. Darth Vader was cool, man. Still is. I'm not going to really go into any the Star Wars diatribe. I'm tired. I made that video today. Go watch that. I'm
That's exhausted. A funny video. Chat, if you haven't watched that yet, that's one of Jeff's best rants in that. The one that you go on in that, I had to stop what I was doing because I was laughing.
Oh, the iPhone having Stanley Cup drinking, the white girl problems. Yeah.
And ending it with the clip that you did too was perfect. That was the cherry on top.
That's my favorite audience to write and lampoon that. Just that fucking Starbucks Stanley Cup audience. Just they don't watch our shit, but they are the perfect audience to lampoon. I love it.
Oh yeah.
I hate the fact that they're obsessed with Stanley Cups, but there's only one Stanley Cup, and it's in the Hockey Hall of Fame in Toronto, and that's the only one that counts. Damn it.
I agree. Oh, thanks, Nat, your average nerd. You liked my comment about that shit. I just make up on the fly. Honestly, that's just
that was funny too.
Because sometimes I'll have notes in front of me, but I'm like, hold on a second. I just go. I love it. You should hear some of the shit I've cut out in the past, folks. There have been long tangents and rants. Maybe I'll put those on Patreon one day, just old crap that just never
do it. Jeff uncut.
I will go back and listen to everything though to make sure I don't put anything that's I should not have put that out. I've never made that mistake yet with the channel. Well, I've had ones where I accidentally uploaded a 50-minute video and the real video is 15 minutes, but then there's just a bunch of dead space and then one frame of an image at the very end. And I'm like,
oh gosh.
I've made that mistake a couple times. I'm like, God damn. Anyway, that's it. But folks, thank you for all the support. Like I said, live stream numbers are just whatever. I don't really stress out of it, but all our views keep rolling and the subscribers keep going up. So thank you. So we'll see more and more of it. But Nat, your average nerds, cats are cool. I had a couple myself. They were pretty cool. So Thunder Robots Coming to America 2's funeral scene now has a deeper meaning. Yeah, I just wish it was in a better movie. Lion King, when he comes back in the clouds, that one will have better meaning to me than it's Coming to America 2, man.
You must remember who you are.
I mean, it's sad that his last couple of performances were not of the greatest works. But I mean, he had a great career. I mean, a fun fact is that even in the Simpsons episode that does the cloud stuff, that wasn't James Earl Jones. He was in the two Treehouse of Horrors, and then another one in season 9 as a narrator. So it's kind of funny. The one episode that actually makes fun of all the characters that he played, he wasn't the guy who voiced it. They got a sound alike, and then he actually ended up doing the Simpsons proper for other episodes.
Adama, we're not bashing Starbucks. Read between the lines. What audience loves Starbucks, Stanley Cups, pumpkin spice lattes, hocus pocus blankets?
Intolerable people.
There we go.
Intolerable white women.
No, they're not all white.
A lot of them are. A lot of them are.
There you go. just intolerable people. There you go. The worst kind. I mean, come on now. But yeah, Starbucks coffee's fine. I'm a Tim Hortons. No, Tim Hortons kind of sucks.
Tim Hortons sucks now because it's not Tim Hortons. They're bought by Burger King. That's why. You know who has Tim Hortons coffee now? McDonald's, because they bought the company that provided them the beans and the cups.
Oh,
how about that?
I don't hate McDonald's coffee. Huh. I've drank a lot of it, actually.
Yeah. Used to be Tim Hortons. Son of a gun.
Interesting.
When I was up in Michigan, Tim Horton, like when I went up to college in 2007, the Tim Hortons stuff was a little better. I don't know when it crossed over, but
it was around 2008 or 9. I want to say it's been over a decade for sure. But yeah, I mean, only people in Americans who lived really close to the northern border got access to a Tim Hortons, and you appreciate it.
Michigan has some great food. It's a weird place, but so is Ohio. But whatever. I was talking to somebody like, "Oh no, is it Dragon Con?" Like, "Oh, you're from Ohio. Isn't it so weird there?" I said, "No, the internet lied to you," and they didn't know what to say.
They didn't know how to react to that.
They're like, "Oh man, it's not weird and kinky and creepy. No, it's boring as shit. Everything closes at 9:00, even in Cincinnati, a city with everything. It's like, oh man, right now, if I was desperate for food, my choices would be like McDonald's, Burger King, maybe the White Castle that just reopened."
It was that way when I lived in Washington too. Like so many places closed at an hour that I just was not accustomed to places closing at, and I was like, "What the hell is this?"
That's the one part I miss about California. Not the heat waves, not the crazy people, not the driving. But I was like, yeah, it's like 1:30 in the morning. Hey, we can get a steak dinner delivered right now. Let's do it. Like,
right?
It was everything.
Freaking Applebee's open till like 3 a.m.
But it's Applebee's.
I'm fine with Applebee's.
It's
doesn't bother me. Same with chili. Applebee's and Chili's don't bother me. Like
I can do TGI Fridays. Chili's
I'll go there. I'll go there. I'll knock back a few tall beers. Have some grub.
I guess I should apologize for calling you intolerable, Andrew.
It's funny.
Sorry. I've been there. I've had their boneless wings and those stupid rib bites more than I'm willing to admit. Hell, cheap beer in college is your best friend. Mm-hmm. Xavier to God says it's rumored that Disney is trying to make it so Tobey Maguire and Hugh Jackman's Wolverine will interact with each other on screen. It's just unfortunate that it's not the original Fox version of Wolverine.
I don't know how much credit there is or validity there is to that being even a rumor. I came across, I think it was on Twitter, just a 1-by-1 graphic image with 0 sources cited from just one of those typical online rags posting, Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man and Wolverine, Hugh Jackman should be, eyed for being in the same movie or something to that effect. I'm paraphrasing here.
I saw it. It was a picture of Spider-Man like jumping from the side. It was actually pretty cool and graphic. I was like, this would be cool.
Yeah, so to me, that sounds like one of those rumors like we hear like when we're always 4 years out from a new console cycle being announced that, people just try to start speaking things into existence and calling something a rumor that nobody else has said.
Well, I mean, there's that, or they're doing what's called feelers. So that's where they deliberately have their marketing department come up with various combinations of things. They put it out there through the rumor mill. And if there's enough buzz, they'll actually consider the idea. I mean, that's exactly what happened mere hours after it was announced Michael Keaton was going to come back as Batman in The Flash. They put out the feelers. Could we get away with Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield in a Spider-Man movie with Tom Holland?
Right.
And that blew up really quickly. And then brilliantly,
it was the only thing worth going to see the movie for.
Not only write and shoot that movie and get it released like 2 years before The Flash, which had already been working on it for 5 years prior to that, they also made a crap ton of money as a result with that simple nostalgia reunion.
It's true.
I would go see this movie if it was made, but I don't know how to not sound cynical, but that's not cynical. Everything has its time. And Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man was great. I was there from the beginning. I remember when there was rumors of a Spider-Man movie coming before that. You know, people, oh, there's this,
I
there's
remember
that.
the James Cameron rumors of Spider-Man. That's
Yeah.
how old I am.
It was so exciting, though, because you're like, man, Spider-Man, this is how my child brain would think of it. Spider-Man was good enough to be on cartoons, TV shows, and video games, but never a movie. I was like, man, Batman gets movies, but nobody else. Why? Then I discovered Superman. That's a different story. But I was building and waiting. And then, like, I shit you not, as soon as they announced that first Spider-Man movie, I'm like, this is awesome. I'm so pumped. I want to learn how to make comics. That's what got me into this stuff. So, like, I was there. It was awesome. First day I was there. Well, sorry, third day. I was in grade school. Couldn't get there till Sunday. But every other one I was there for. And, like, that window of time, it was just all about that. I was on board. Hell, my early days on the internet were about fan theories and watching trailers and all this cool shit. But with that being said, and there's really not many people I think would get as excited about these things, it had its time. It had a bad ending, but then it came back and redeemed itself. And much like Beverly Hills Cop 4 or any of these other movies that kind of come back after a long gestation period of disappointment and leave you going home satisfied, I don't want to see him again, because really all it would be is a bunch of shitty quips. He would be like Deadpool light. Spider-Man and Wolverine, you know, go read their crossover in the comic. The first time they fought, it's not that great of a fight. You know, Spider-Man is outmatched. He loses to Wolverine. It's not like, I think people just expect it to be funny, and that's all they want now. And that's fine. Believe me, it's great for, you know, people's taste with Wokebusters and shit. I do, but not every, like, Spider-Man is a funny character, but people don't get that not all of his issues are funny, and the ones that stand out are the depressing ones. Everybody knows Gwen Stacy's death, or Kraven's Last Hunt, where you think Spider-Man's dead and he's buried alive, and Kraven kills himself. It's like all of the great Spider-Man stories that the fans are waiting for will never be told, because we're stuck with this damn comedy troupe of Marvel. It's like everyone's got to make you laugh more. That's why Deadpool and Wolverine works. That's why it made $1 billion, and that's why it's a solid movie.
Well, also, like, it, even though Peter has teamed up with, I think, more other characters in the Marvel universe than anybody else has, he's still a singular character. He's best on his own. He's, the Avengers call him. He's not like, hey, I need the Avengers' help for this, right? Like, I don't need Spidey teamed up with this, that, and the other character. It's not necessary for me. Like, those are the least interesting. It's not like I won't read them or won't watch them, but like that's super low on the priority list. Just tell me good Spider-Man stories. That's all I need. And also, I don't think it's tough with the current slate of Spider-Man actors that we've had, because I don't know how well they would team up with other characters. And I mean that in terms of, like, if we're pairing them up against, or pairing them up alongside, rather, some of these other iconic people that have played these roles. Honestly, I think Tom Holland would get overshadowed. I think Andrew Garfield would outshine just about anybody else. And because he's outshined other people in movies where he wasn't even the freaking main character, because his performance just stole the show. Toby might be like the most balanced one, but at the same time, I don't see his Spidey teaming up with a character like Wolverine. I don't see that chemistry happening, if that makes sense. Because I don't see that working personally. I like Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man being the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. They keep it kind of grounded, you know, for the most part, and that's where we have that. Like, let him live in his own space, occupy his own space, and shine in his own space, because that's what he did. Parts of Spider-Man 3 notwithstanding. Yeah, that's the image right there.
Yeah, because I thought it was very well made. I was like, this is cool. This looks like a comic book cover come to life. The only thing that sucks about comic book to live action adaptations is these images become really flat, and what make a comic book image work does not translate well to a photograph or a digital manipulation. And so if you did this as a comic, you wouldn't have Wolverine completely sideways. You would have, it would just be more dynamic. I'm sorry to be an art nerd right now, but I look at this is exciting. It's a cool prospect. I mean, if they made the movie, I'd review it for the channel, but I don't, if I was like, oh, Jeff, they're like, Jeff, you could make this movie, would you? No, I'd see where Tom Holland is, because that's actually interesting and can go on. We're like, stop with these 3 movies, let's reboot, because it never goes anywhere. I mean, Iron Man was great because he got his 3 movies. He's in a bunch of crossovers. I don't want him to come back, but you know what I'm saying? Don't abandon the characters. Just tough it out. Keep making more. Like Roger Moore, James Bond movies. I have a new appreciation for them. But, if you end, after the Mount the Golden Gun, you're like, oh, that was a crappy one, After Live and Let Die. No more Roger Moore. You lose out on The Spy Who Loved Me. And then if you don't like Moonraker, well, then you lose out on For Your Eyes Only. And if you don't like Octopussy, well, View to a Kill's pretty fun. My point is, you got to tough it out. No more pulling the rug out. Oh, we got to reboot because we got to see what's hot. We got to test the audience. I hate to say this because I'm all about the fans. You know how I treat you guys about this channel and the work, but force the people to stick through the narratives. Stop reading the internet. Stop feeding into the quick, I got to have it, a feeder bar attention span. Just say fuck it and stick with the damn story. Don't worry about some idea that somebody had on Twitter that got the AI to manipulate an image and now people think it's real. Don't buy into that shit. No, stick with your story, get us to the next point, and make a truly great 6-film saga, and then maybe make us want 9, and then have this great thing that then is really hard to top and follow. That should be your challenge, because we'll go back and see them as long as they're good. And stop giving us crap. But here's the thing: sprinkle this in. Don't take away the fun. I don't not want crossovers, but have a foundation, then do your crossover. Don't build a foundation on random bullshit. That's my rant.
Absolutely, because here's the thing: if you say make a solid foundation of Spider-Man, have a solid foundation of Captain America, have a solid foundation of Johnny Storm from Fantastic Four, then when you combine all those 3 together, you have a far better likelihood of a successful movie, at least just for the opening weekend alone, because you have all the goodwill of those foundations coming together in one big event film. That's how you do it. For Spider-Man, if you want to just keep it solo, give us 3 Spider-Man movies and then do number 4 as Spider-Man versus the Sinister Six, because that will bring in a whole lot more.
It's your event film, right?
Yeah.
You build up to that with the 3 films, and then you have your event film. And that's actually what, I forget if that's also what Raimi was kind of eventually moving towards, but I know for Mark Webb, he was trying to slowly build towards that. And
Sony was rushing them to get there faster.
Yeah. Sony, Avi Arad, all those guys, they wanted their Sinister Six film right now.
Avi Arad was the worst.
He's absolutely. I mean, he's ruined multiple films at this point. So
yeah, but the thing is, he also cheapens out the toy stuff. He comes up with all these concepts for toys that are pretty good, and then he licenses them out to the worst makers out there to put them out.
Yeah, I think it's you that likes to collect those early 90s figures, so there's a charm to Toy Biz.
There's a charm to certain generations of it, but there's ones where you're like, no, you can't go near them at all. They're bad.
Did I tell you that
they'll break apart if you look at them wrong?
Real quick, I got $5 Toy Biz Marvel Legends at Dragon Con mint in box. So
what?
Yeah.
Oh man, yeah. My girlfriend found a bunch of those on eBay. It was basically $5-6, but the shipping was $20 because shipping's a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've got a bunch. I've got MODOK, the original MODOK, in the box in perfect condition.
I got Doctor Doom and Namor in his second outfit.
Ooh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, for $5, I'll tell you. I'll show you what I got off air because it's actual steel. Everybody that walked by me went they were trying to buy the figures out of the box. You got this and this. I'm like, yeah, it's not for sale. I know what I got. So
yeah,
I kind of just took joy in having something they really wanted that I paid $5 for.
Nice.
I'm not petty. It was a great time. I'll tell folks. We talked about Dragon Con. Go back and listen to last week's show. I don't want to be redundant. But no, I don't want to spoil anyone's fun, folks. If you're interested in a crossover, pitch me a crazy crossover. I do think that's the future of big budget blockbusters. Because, and I've said this before, Deadpool and Wolverine, I'm not using that to confirm my opinion. We've been saying it for years. We have a record of it on the show. This was always going to be the thing. We had Kong and Godzilla recently. We had Deadpool and Wolverine recently. If you have 2 people that have an interesting fan base, they will come together and they will cross over and they will make a ton of money. And they don't need to be as overtly funny as Deadpool and Wolverine, but they shouldn't be, unless the tone calls for it, they shouldn't be overly serious. Like even Freddy versus Jason takes away the horror element, and it's just balls to the wall insanity.
Yeah,
I think that's a great example
crazy,
of crossover.
stupid fun type of stuff. Yeah, it's kind of insane how much money fans of things are willing to spend if you like give them something that's just, I don't know, fun.
Well, you make a product that's more fun than it is to make it, because the moment you have more fun making it is most likely the least amount of fun the audience is going to have watching it, because they're not in on that side of it. You have to make something fun for them, and it's always a shot in the dark. Like again, everybody's just they've made their own calculations that yes, I think audiences will really like this, and I hope they do. And when it hits, you're very happy and relieved, and when it doesn't hit, you're like, okay, where did we go wrong? And then you just kind of have to redo it. And we get the most derivative comments ever, like, oh, just give it 5 years, take a 5-year break. You don't need to take a break altogether. You know how you get a proper break with something that's bad all the time? You make something good. That's your break.
You put it in. I don't want to use the James Bond analogy, but remember, those movies came out every other year for decades. There was a James Bond movie on screen every other year from 1965 to 1989.
Yep.
There was like 1 or 2 breaks. There was a gap from 1970
from License to Kill to GoldenEye, right?
Well, no, there was a gap between The Spy Who Loved Me and The Man with the Golden Gun. That was the then biggest gap of 3 whole years. It took 3 years to get to that one because there was a lawsuit. Not a lawsuit. Harry Saltzman had to sell his share, and then Cubby Broccoli, it was his first solo production. So that's neither here nor there. But the thing is, though, folks, is like you keep these things rolling. I don't think it's bad to look at a movie as like an event, or sometimes look at it as something that needs to come out regularly. If you have something good, we'll go. Like, I was surprised how good Beetlejuice was. Did I think a sequel to Beetlejuice would be good? Hell no. Ask me 2 weeks ago. I was down on it. I was going to make a video why this movie's going to suck because I was so worried it was going to fall into those traps. I thought to myself,
aren't you happy to be wrong?
Fuck yeah, dude. Great movie. Loved Beetlejuice. Don't care what anyone else says. If you didn't like it, more power to you. But me, someone who enjoys movies, who likes to laugh and loves Beetlejuice, it was great. I don't think most people actually understand what makes Beetlejuice. They think it's like some horror shit and other Tim Burton elements that come together, when in reality, it is a really weird movie. It just is it's really popular. That's it. It's no less weird or out there than something like a Buckaroo Banzai. If you really get the shit they're talking about in Beetlejuice, you're like, what is going on? Like, what movie talks about weird supernatural 1970s like New York trends and shit that's out there? Like, it's just funny and obscure. And this new one's equally funny and obscure. Like when Beetlejuice speaks Italian or whatever he was speaking and tells about his past, I was the loudest laughing person in that theater.
Well, people were like making fun of the old 40s horror films. I mean, that was an homage to that. I will say this. It had its vignettes. I've seen it twice with 2 different audiences, one which is much younger and one which is about my age. It was crickets in the audience. It's not that they didn't get the jokes. It's just that it was not as funny as you'd expect it to be. And I think it mostly has to do with the fact that the first Beetlejuice is an inverted premise of Poltergeist, where it's not the ghosts that are haunting the humans, it's the humans that are haunting the ghosts. That's Beetlejuice. That's the joke. There is no such premise of that new level of nuance in Beetlejuice. But it does have, I mean, Catherine O'Hara kills it. Like, she's the best part of that movie, in my opinion.
Oh, she's great.
To everybody. But like it has the same issues I've had with all Al Gough and Miles Miller projects, which is that it plays around with more ideas than it has time to actually explore. And these are the types of guys that don't know how to write stories that are about stories, but they write stories that are about the content itself. So Smallville is a story about Superman. It's not really about teenage puberty or anything of that nature. A bunch of the Star Trek stuff on Secret Hideout is about Star Trek. It's not about exploring strange new worlds. Everything that Dave Filoni does in Star Wars is about how great Star Wars is. It's not about, the family dynamic and dealing with a father who ends up having a dark past or present or what have you. Beetlejuice skirts that line. Skirts that line. But it also basically presents a lot of really interesting ideas and then discards them for other ideas, which is disappointing for me on that in that level, because it's like I would have liked to have seen more of the Monica Bellucci stuff. She's barely in it.
That's what I liked, because I was not interested in her at all. I No, I didn't really. I mean, I would have enjoyed that movie as much without that subplot completely. I didn't care about her or the killings or all that. I was really interested in just seeing I'm just going to call it the Netherworld because that's what they call it in the cartoon. I know it's like the afterlife in the movie, but it's the Netherworld.
It's like a purgatory, though. Yeah.
Because what I'm saying, cartoon Beetlejuice is my introduction to Beetlejuice. It's actually hard for me to remind myself that he's the bad guy of these movies. He's not the hero. He's just the,
he's the antagonist. Yeah.
He's not even the titular character technically because his name isn't spelled Beetlejuice with a J, but I will.
No, they did that just because it's funnier.
Yeah. In that movie, that's the thing though. Like you talk about the meta narrative of these movies being about the movie themselves. It's definitely like so palpable when you watch Star Wars. You're like, hey, it's that character that you all know and love. It's like,
yeah,
I didn't really get that too much with Beetlejuice. The thing I guess I got is younger people actually talk like that. I've been interacting with a lot of people in public lately, and they talk about shit like this in this really stupid way, like it's this somehow relatable.
You're making us sound old.
They talk without meaning. That's what you're saying. They're talking without meaning. That's exactly what it is.
Okay, they speak without meaning, and that's what I got. I didn't get that as much from this one. That's what I was trying to say.
No, this one doesn't hit it as hard as some of the others. Like that's the thing, but it's definitely there. Yeah.
Well, the point I was trying to make is this is trying to be a movie for all audience ages, and I really picked that up. And I don't know that I disliked it because while it does have those little breadcrumbs to get the Jenna Ortega audience in, it still feels like Beetlejuice, and it gives me the hope that then people will, that if they haven't seen the old one, they'll go back and watch it, and it's good enough, and it doesn't do anything to throw off the balance of the original movie, that it keeps Beetlejuice even more relevant now. Like, I'm a big toy collector. I saw today there's a Figure Arts and a Mezco Beetlejuice coming out, and I got the Sideshow coming next month. My point is, it's not about the toys, it's about keeping these things relevant. And if the company will spend thousands of dollars to engineer a product to then sell, and probably a couple $100,000 to acquire a license, it means that there's viability for it beyond just, hey, a movie came out over the course of a couple weeks and we watch it every once in a while. This will plant Beetlejuice again as just another kind of perennial favorite. You dig them up around the fall or Halloween, or if you're like me, you watch it in the summer because it's just a movie, and you dig in. Beetlejuice is just like with Beverly Hills Cop. It just kind of cements it as, hey, it's this property. This is how it operates in the modern world. We'll probably never touch it again because the actors are too old. And there you go. That's all she wrote. I was happy enough that I want to go see it again. I just haven't had the time, but I'll buy this on disc. I'll pick up the shirt. I even got the collector's cup. I blind bought that, but it was really nice to go into a movie that I liked that much. I liked Beverly Hills Cop 4 a lot, but most movies that I've been seeing at the theaters lately, like even Alien Romulus, really great movie, but not like Alien's good, not Alien good. And it had these lines that took me out, like, get away from her, you bitch. This Beetlejuice brought so much new comedy to the table. And I guess I also treat it as just a comedy. Like other movies, I'm more focused on certain story elements. But like 21 Jump Street, yes, it has a sound script and it works, but I'll overlook dumber crap or lack of whatever if it makes you laugh. That's kind of what the substance is for me in a comedy. And this Run Red is a really good comedy. So I love talking about it. Believe me, it's fun because Dion's just like, I don't like it. And I'm like, okay, why didn't you like it? I didn't think it was as good as you thought. Why? So I didn't get an answer. So
I was really missing the moment, which was kind of like a staple of Beetlejuice, not just from the first film, but also used frequently in the cartoon, where his head spins on its neck rapidly.
Yeah. It did that.
It didn't do that in Beetlejuice.
Yeah, it did. He was hanging up and he spun around once. It was in the church.
Before he blew up into all the Beatles when Delia's calling? Because I don't remember seeing
there was a point. No, there was a point where his head did spin around because they did it with the effect. I remember thinking, oh, this is how the effect looks in the modern day. Because before it was obviously like a blue screen effect, but he definitely spins his head just like once. Like, he doesn't do it a bunch like in the original one where he has to catch himself, but he does do it like really slowly once. And I was like, oh, that's weird.
I didn't catch that because I was expecting to be the hectic one because that's the joke, is that he can't control it and it happens. There were some recycled jokes, like the scary face that we only see the back of. That was all right. They did miss the point with the Possession and MacArthur Park song because the Maitlands did the first one. Beetlejuice didn't do that. That was lame from his perspective. So I mean, there's a little bit of inauthenticity there, but I do like the fact that they played up kind Catherine O'Hara's grief. I like the fact that they honored Charles Dietz and they didn't throw him under the bus because the actor was in possession of some illicit material. That was nice, and I like that stuff. I like the shroud over the house. I thought that was hysterical. Didn't make me laugh, but I'm like, I see what they're doing there. That's clever. Delia is making an art piece out of her stuff. And I liked a little bit of the expansion with regards to, the boyfriend character and what his goal was going on.
There's an actual twist in a Beetlejuice movie. I was like, oh, I didn't see that one coming.
Well, I kind of figured it out as soon as he opened the door for her, and I'm like, oh, I think I know what's happening here. Unfortunately, I was wanting to be surprised, but it didn't. They missed a great joke for the Soul Train, which it's like, well, wait, why is this so 70s? Actually, it's not 70s. This came first. The guy that invented the Soul Train itself, he actually died and was resurrected, came back to life, resuscitated back to life, and this is what he saw before he went on and he decided to copy that. Like, that would have been a funny joke. Because otherwise, why would that exist at all in that way? Because it's like, it's so 70s, but the Soul Train and everything there should have been immortal, timeless, because the death has always been timeless, right? So they missed some opportunities there, but I did like how fun they made that and how hectic they did with that. This is like, yeah, they're dancing to go to the final destination.
I just thought the movie looked great. You don't see a lot of movies that look like this anymore. Everything has that like Marvel, was it orange and blue filter?
It was better polished. It had one big flaw, and I thought it was my screen the first time. So when I went and saw it again, I knew it wasn't the screen. It's the makeup was actually pretty bad. You could tell that Keaton was wearing makeup as opposed to in the original one where it looked like, the blacks around his eyes looked like he hadn't slept in months or years. This one, you can actually see the edging of paint around his black eyes, and some of the mole stuff didn't quite look as convincing. And I think that's more to do with the fact that V. Neil did not come back to do the makeup. They had some third-party person kind of copying it out.
I noticed that because when I was reading the credits, I was like, oh, I didn't see her name.
And I've met V. Neil, and I love her, and I wish she would have come back for that, but maybe she was busy, or maybe she wanted too much money. I don't know. She's very, very
everyone has a price.
I chalked a lot of that up to Michael Keaton because Beetlejuice looks so off because I just think Michael Keaton's face is so wrinkly that there's like, I'm sure there's filler and all this other stuff you could do. I would have done that, but he just looks like old Beetlejuice to me. Like, you'll never mistake 1988 Beetlejuice for 2024 Beetlejuice.
Yes, 100%.
But I thought the performance didn't miss a beat. Outside of his voice being a little off, I thought the energy was still there, which is rare. Like, Batman worked in The Flash, even though I hated that movie, and I liked Beetlejuice and this movie. So I'm happy with Michael Keaton.
Like, I the one thing I can't actually criticize negatively about is, aside from Justin Theroux, is the acting. The acting was fantastic. Justin Theroux needs to stop. I know he's been around for 30 years. He's never been a thing. He never will be a thing. Stop forcing him in roles that don't work for him just because he needs work.
I agree. The Rory character was not my favorite.
He didn't need him at all.
No, but the thing is, you set him up to get eaten, so there's that catharsis at the end. We're like, yeah, eat it, Rory, and then he's just dead. Like, it was kind of nice to see a character just kind of exist to die, but I missed Otho. There wasn't like he was supposed to be the Otho of the movie, but he just didn't work. And I know Glenn Shaddix has been dead for a while now, but Otho's to me why Beetlejuice just has these like really weird comedic moments that just no other movie could match. That guy's timing.
I did like the confirmation that Maxie Dean and his wife were technically still alive. They didn't get killed in the original one. It's like, where's Maxie Dean? He's not here yet? No. Yeah. Oh, none of the important people have arrived. And like, that's Catherine O'Hara funny.
I did like that they mentioned like just that night at the Maitlands, I call it the Maitlands house, but the night up there didn't kill everybody. So that's
and I also appreciated the fact that they avoided making the events that happen in Beetlejuice public knowledge worldwide. It's more like Lydia Dietz became famous because she is a medium, and that's why people know her. I'm like, that's a far more plausible thing. They wouldn't have gotten the what the Disney would have done, which is like, yep, the whole town of Winter River knew what was going on in the Maitland's house, and it became an urban legend. Now it's like, no, I don't buy that. That ruins the allure of the first one, where it's a very intimate story that nobody ever learned about and nobody should learn about because it's none of their damn business. I do think, though, they should have had fun with Lydia having a newer hairstyle, because no woman, no matter how eccentric they are, keeps the same hairstyle for 39 years. Just don't.
Yeah, it was unrealistic. Everything else, though, I'm stuck with you, man.
But again, performances are great. I liked how Lydia, Winona Ryder she gave us a newer Lydia, and it worked.
Folks, if you want to hear my glowing review, check it out. I really liked Beetlejuice. Let's check in with the audience real quick. Shrubbles08 has a request. I'll take one of these.
You one ugly motherfucker.
Amazing.
I don't even know why I made that one. That was just like, it's when you're in a kitchen and you're like, hey, I got these weird ingredients. Let's make something. Let's see how it tastes.
It's funny because I still think the CG She-Hulk is actually rather attractive still. Like, she's not repulsively doing the show. It's just horrible.
She doesn't match the actress. That's my thing. Like, I don't see that lady hulks out into that. Like, I can see Mark Ruffalo in the Hulk. I don't see Tatiana.
You don't see Tatiana Maslany as much. No, it's basically the eyes and the mouth is the only thing they kept. They changed the nose and the complete geometry of the face to make it more closer to the comic, which is fair. But yeah,
nothing else about that CGI model though looks anything like She-Hulk in the comic. Like,
I don't know, the height and the proportions are pretty correct. It's the hair's also pretty bang on, but it's just weird because the actor that plays her is incredibly different from Jennifer Walters. Like, she's mousy, which is what you want, but she's a different type of mousy.
Yeah.
And what's crazy is that I know if they didn't give the makeup that they did for Tatiana in her mousy form, but they used what she normally looks like, because I've known her from Orphan Black and seen her in other stuff, she would have been an attractive mousy version that would have probably better matched that version of She-Hulk, as opposed to what they did with the frizzy hair and, like, making her cut like 20 pounds of weight and all that other stuff that they did. It was just weird and off. Yeah, but thankfully we'll never see another She-Hulk series again, but we will probably see her She-Hulk in the future.
So that's just what I always wanted, man. When I woke up this morning, I thought more She-Hulk would make the world go round.
Needed that reminder, right? That is a possibility.
Listen, I could fix it in 5 minutes in one season 2 episode, and people would be bawling their eyes out laughing and going, yes, let's go.
I'm just a stickler for, like, can we get some cool A-list character that gets a show? Like, I guarantee you, if they put money into a Batman TV show and a movie, like, with the same dude, they would both work. Like, I don't think you'd overexpose Batman. He's a TV, movie, radio, serial character. Like, you could do a Spider-Man show. Like, you could do the A-list characters. Like, make it happen. Okay?
Yeah, the overexposing argument is a non-argument. It's stupid and self-defeating. And all it tells me is, like, no, you just don't know how to put out enough good content. Because fans don't get sick of good content.
No, if they did a good 52 episode season of Spider-Man, which is every week for like 5 years or 10, it just never gets old. Of course you'd watch it. It doesn't
I'm there every freaking week. Easy.
Yeah. I want all the shows to be good, but I also am holding out for shows about characters that I'm on board for. Like, I get, like, an X-Men TV show might be a little hard, like trying to get all the powers and the mutants and all. That's too much. But there's no reason you can't have Spider-Man. Like, you could
you'd have to do.
Dude, I'd be thrilled with a Mr. and Mrs. X Rogan Gambit.
Yeah, of course. But you could do a Spider-Man, but you need to have 4 months of basically creating web slinging templates that you can repurpose in various angles and directions in order to speed up post-production time for, like, web slinging and whatnot. That would be your only high expense. And then the other part too is you would need to have the best stunt coordinators in the biz to come up with non paint by brush number fight scenes that you would normally see on your cop procedurals or your CW superhero shows, because Spider-Man has to have that improvised fighting choreography in order for it to be really fun and inventive. You can't just have him go through a paint by numbers stuff where he's always doing a backflip and then into the split kicks and then a webbing and then, bad guys are subdued. It gets boring very, very fast for a character.
Well, what you need is you need basically the Doc Ock versus Spidey fight on top of the train, right, from Spider-Man 2, or you need just about any fight in the Amazing Spider-Man films.
I think and those would take about 2 weeks to film, which would really delay production, but would be so worth it per episode.
Just have two teams, like have Peter Parker team and Spider-Man team.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need the actor in the suit always. Like,
that's great.
Yeah, I'd rather have a stunt, like Power Rangers were somebody else. I'd rather have a stuntman be Spider-Man and have the right guy be Peter Parker, and then just have him in the right shape so you can show him without the mask on or something.
The only tricky thing is that you would need a director to shoot both of them in order for a consistency, or you have to have some sort of a brilliant team where one is great at special effects and choreography directing, and they're completely in line with the director that's doing the out of costume stuff or talking as Spider-Man stuff. And they'd have to be a pair throughout the entire series in order to make it smooth and workable. Because if you can't nail that, you are going to have, like in the first season of Power Rangers, where it's clearly obviously Japanese footage mixed in with American stuff. And it will fool a younger audience. It won't fool the majority of the audience that you're trying to get to watch your show. So you got to really, it's a tough balancing act. Like, this is one of the stuff that even when I was pitching my Alfred series, and even when I was talking about doing another a Green Lantern show, it was all about like, well, these are characters with some high special effects, some high stunt stuff. How do you make it work within a 5 to 8 day production schedule for a weekly show? It's like, you kind of have to get a month ahead on top of that normal weekly schedule to do all the special effects. And it's like, well, we can't bring in a director to shoot 3 weeks of special effects for that. We can't find a special effects director that's going to do that for every episode and keep it consistent and match it to whatever style the TV director is coming in to do. So you got to find a way to make it work. And it's very, very difficult problem to solve. And the only way you can solve it is by throwing a lot of money into it. And if you're going to be doing a show like that, it's got to be on network or a heavily ad-supported VOD, because you're never going to make a profit on a straight streaming.
Yeah, you put that on a streaming platform, you're just eating costs.
A Spider-Man TV show on ABC, people would watch it.
It's
like, or Batman on NBC.
I will sign up for cable for that.
But I'm just saying, like, it's too big of a thing that people aren't going to watch it. And like those characters, like, I'm just using Spidey as an example because he's my favorite, but I know the most. Like, that is a PG-13 at max show. It is not a violent character. You don't need people screaming cuss words at Spider-Man.
Right.
You just have them yell like, and you don't make it kiddified. You just kind of make it like semi-realistic. And just,
there was that great time he threatened to kill Kingpin by filling his lungs with webbing.
Yeah, like in 538, right after Civil War in prison.
It's a great moment. That's one of my all-time favorite Spider-Man moments, because that's when Pete's like, "All right, you pushed him over the line. Don't push him any further."
I bought every issue of that Back in Black series. I was in high school, and that's where my money started to go in late high school. I had a job.
I hear that.
I bought comic books. But the thing is,
I'm with you.
I was so dedicated, like wanting to learn how to draw this shit. I read everything I could. There were guys I liked to study, and then there were guys I just like to read, like Todd Knock, good artist, very talented man. Watch his YouTube videos. Never try to copy his style. Just isn't something I would want to draw. But love his work. Anytime he's on a Spidey title, I try to pick it up because it's just in my mind there are a couple acceptable versions of the character in terms of being drawn, and he always kind of checks off that box. Umberto Ramos, so I'm sorry, Andrew.
But the thing is,
that's fine. I'm not insulted, but he's my favorite interior Spidey artist.
Yeah, I would love to see, live action Spider-Man or any type of superhero show, but it always comes with the risk of what we got on the CW, which is you're going to get a lot of talking in hallways, talking in room scenes, as opposed to any actual action. And remember, when they're in comic book form or when they're on feature film form, it's a lot more action than it is just simply talking in rooms. And in order to translate that into TV, you got to have a really tight schedule, and you have to have really, really good scripts.
Well, Spidey, right off the bat, you can have either a newsroom drama, like a early college drama, you can have a family drama, you can have a crime show. You could kind of tie in so many different things where, if it's Spider-Man and Law and Order have a type of crossover. You could do stories about because the thing is, not every episode has to follow. Like sometimes it's just Peter, like in the books. Not every issue of Spider-Man has Spider-Man in the costume. I know that's a shocker, but that wasn't a pun.
Spider-Man's one of those characters where you can actually make something like that work in a TV drama where you've got some episodes where he doesn't suit up at all. Maybe he, potentially gets into a scuffle outside of the suit, but at most that could be fine because you can have stuff where whether it's a family drama, whether it's work drama over the Daily Bugle, or whether it's drama if he's in college, or if we still have high school Peter, whatever it is, the character of Peter was meant to appeal to people who were dealing with all of those different things. That's why he's such a beloved character and such a relatable character, because he does have all of these areas of his life that most people can relate to in some form or fashion.
Well,
to some degree.
lot of Marvel characters can actually identify that because Marvel is far more of the soap opera style that's very character focused and centric and not necessarily so much on the superhero side of thing. But when the superhero stuff happens, it's quite exciting. The conflict being is that when you have, say, a studio like Disney at this point that says, okay, yeah, we'll do a Spider-Man show, and then you give them 3 or 4 episodes where Spider-Man doesn't appear, but it's still Peter Parker, they're going to be like, why do audiences want to actually watch this show? And the argument that you pose, even though it may be correct and also factual with regards to the comics, is not going to hold muster when it comes to, well, we think the audience will be really disappointed if they don't even get to see Spider-Man in the suit swinging in the webs at least once, right? So you have to also consider like that has to be a factor in some case, because it's, if you want to do a Peter Parker episode that is only Peter Parker with no Spider-Man and stuff, say like, for instance, a Die Hard issue where he's trapped in the Daily Bugle and he has no opportunity to suit up, but he has to rescue everybody inside using his powers, but he has no web shooters, no costume, nothing. That's a good gimmick to use and have fun with, but you can only get away with something like that so many times before people start to see the pattern and go and click to something else.
You could throw a wraparound in there where not every episode, but Spider-Man's internal monologue is such an important thing. Mm-hmm. You could even have an episode like that be featured where he's recapping it to somebody else as Spider-Man or some kind of shit. And then you could have like literally 25 seconds of like him just kind of doing something, swinging off, stopping a crime, and the episode ends.
Like he's sitting on a Gorgol talking to Johnny Storm about what happened last week at the Bugle.
Well, what it is, you Oreo cookie it, right? So you
bookends,
right at the beginning, you start with the narration, and then Johnny Storm's a great example because they're great buddies, and you end it with that narration. They're face to face talking. They're both in their suits. Whatever. Peter's, droning on about what happened to him last week at the Daily Bugle or whatever it was that he got through without being able to suit up. But that in between point is where he's, dealing with that crap outside of the suit. You can do that.
Yeah. We went way over on this, folks. Thank you. I think we got super chats about them. So we're going to address all these Spider-Man ones.
Sure, let's go for it.
I just figure, look, it's a weird night. Nobody's really paying attention to entertainment. We're worried about the real world, but we got to be here for the rest of the people.
Yeah.
I'll catch up with my depressing 2024 news later. Xavier to God. It's also rumored that Zendaya is working on a contract for the next 3 Spider-Man MCU movies, and also the 3rd Spider-Verse movie is still being worked on as well. Thank you, Xavier to God, for that super chat. More Spider-Man's good for Spider-Man fans. I just ask that the movies be good and the costume look like the comic book. Stop changing it every movie. Just
we'll see if Zendaya returns for more. I don't think that's going to be. I know she wants to. I just don't think Disney and Sony are interested right now.
I hope she doesn't.
I don't think it suits the story. Here's the thing. Ultimately, I would have been okay with, even though she was completely insufferable and unlikable, I would have been okay with her as her own character for this Peter's first love interest, whatever, when he's in high school, I guess.
Well, she was. Her name's Michelle Jones. She's not Mary Jane Watson. So.
But I know she's not named Mary Jane Watson, but they deliberately did that so they could call her MJ.
Oh yeah. Well, they want that.
That's what was that's where the insult was. When it was just like Michelle, give her a different last name, give her a different middle name as well. You don't get that. You don't get to call her MJ. That's not MJ.
No.
That's where they lost me. I was like, all right, so his first love interest was completely insufferable. Fine, whatever, I guess.
Well, Disney and Sony have a brand new deal. They should be able to use more Spider-Man characters, and hopefully Mary Jane Watson will be one of them, because I would like to see who they get, and I hope it's a very attractive redhead.
What has to be?
Maybe Gwen Stacy too. I have no problem with either or both. I mean, they can work.
You got to remember, like, I swear this is the last Spider-Man tangent, friends out there in the chat, but you guys like it. But there are like a couple timeline moments that you can't really jump to if you're trying to extend this beyond like 1 or 2 movies, because the first Spider-Man movie pulled so many different eras of Spider-Man together. But the point I'm trying to make is, it's like, once you introduce Mary Jane, you kind of got the audience's expectations on the fast track to them getting married. Like, they don't. Right. Yes,
you can't go back and bring in Gwen.
No, you can't. So if Mary Jane comes in, she's in for good. And then you have to make stories about her, because there are stories about her. Now, I'm of the minority. I don't really care if she's just kind of background, because nobody goes to these movies for her. Like, anybody that says, oh, Mary Jane was so important to me in the first Spider-Man movie, it's like, why? What did she do? Like,
Kristen Dunst didn't do anything but scream.
Exactly.
That's unfortunately the.
She was also a poorly written MJ, to be fair.
Yeah.
She was the weakest part of that movie.
Well, okay, fine. Mary Jane has like 3 plot points in her entire existence: her messed up home life, the obsessive guy Jonathan Caesar who ruins her career, and her career as a model. Maybe there's the time where she was stress smoking cigarettes. Oh my God, let's make an anti-PSA. Like,
Disney ain't gonna do that.
No, but that's the thing. Like, and this is coming from a guy who loves this shit. Like, really likes these characters. We'll pick up books. It's like, I got a Mary Jane action figure. Do I need it? No, but I got one. My point is, like, you can't bring her in. You got to bring in all these other characters. And now's your time. Like, it's this alternate reality, right? Well, if this is an alternate reality, who's to say that J. Jonah Jameson isn't a respectable news producer? So make that the Daily Bugle and start building the cast of characters that way. And, Spider-Man's a GED student, so he doesn't need to go back to school. No more school drama. We're going to watch a dude who has a GED try to get into college and struggle and make it. And that's like, that's 3 movies right there. And then you put the superhero topping on, and that's your $1 billion per movie.
If they can nail the schedule right, we could follow him right up to graduation and then finding out the direction of what job he would get. Now, I'd have no problem if the first 2 movies are featuring with Gwen Stacy and you do that arc, especially with Green Goblin, what have you. J. Jonah Jameson, they've already established him as like an Alex Jones type. So will he transition into actual print media, or will he still be doing his type of, Alex Jonesy show? Most likely going to be the latter at this point. But I think there's room where you can hit some of the more pivotal points of Peter Parker in another trilogy and probably end it off with him, working as I guess it would have to be like a videographer for the Daily Bugle, capturing little videos or TikToks of Spider-Man, and then getting assigned to a fashion show where he meets Mary Jane, and then you kind of end that on the cliffhanger. And if it's the money's still there and with the audience still behind him, you get your next trilogy, which goes through the rungs of their relationship, ending with their marriage. And then you can say, okay, web off or swing off into the sunset. Those 2, we don't need any more after that. And you got like a nice 9-part series.
Hold on. You got to make a 10th one where you send Spider-Man to outer space and just completely kill the franchise. Like, I want to see Spider-Man. Well, we've already seen him in space once. Let's do it again. Let's spend him through time. Let's do something. Actually, no. If I would love to see them then transition to like animated, 1 hour, 90-minute specials, like based on iconic stories. Keep the characters alive that way. You can bombard people with constant releases like they did with Batman for like 10 years straight. But then they stopped being interesting and we stopped watching them. And now it is what it is. But Xavier to God, thank you very much. Folks, thank you for humoring me. Taylor Swift, greater than Disney, Star Wars, and MCU, and Doctor Who. Ooh, a promotion. What James Earl Jones films did you see in the theater? I saw episodes 5, 6, 3, Rogue One, Clear and Present Danger, and Naked Gun 3.
Ooh. In theaters, only Lion King and I never saw any of the re-releases of the original trilogy for Star Wars in theaters. So then it would just be Episode 3, Rogue One. I think it'd only be those three. Now that I think about it, because anything else with James Earl Jones, I'm pretty sure I only saw like on TV.
Yeah, because of the
like
age.
VHS. Yeah, because I was a little kid. You know, you and I weren't old enough to go see the original trilogy in theaters. We weren't born yet.
No,
Oh yeah, that's right. I always forget. Like Script talks like he's like 68 years old, but he's actually only a few years older than we are.
Yeah, but I also had really cool parents that took me more to like movies not made for kids, but not, you know, R-rated films. So I got to see like Hunt for Red October, like the Jack Ryan movies with Alec Baldwin and Harrison Ford. I got to see those, and James Earl Jones is a pivotal role in those. I saw Field of Dreams.
That movie's so good.
You know, you just see a whole bunch in theaters with him. I never got to see him on any plays that he did because he did a lot. But I do know that a number of them were filmed as part of like Showcase and Showtime. They were doing these events where they'd film very famous plays with famous actors. The Sandlot, I remember that one, seeing that one. Yeah. That one, especially my parents were really excited to see because number one, my parents grew up in the time of the Sandlot. And it's also kids about baseball, and baseball was kind of huge in the early 90s.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, that kind of worked out pretty well.
You know, I actually I didn't get to see big of a fan of the Sandlot,
unfortunately.
Like I like the Sandlot just fine, but I don't hold it up on this pedestal like a lot of my generation does. It didn't.
All right, you and I are in agreement, Andrew.
It's just fine.
It's good, like, yeah.
I don't hate it, but people are like, hey, you know, you want to watch the Sandlot? I'm like, I mean, is there any other option?
My honest answer is no, honestly. So I'm like, let's watch Sandlot. If it's like a group of people, I won't be a wet blanket ever because I don't dislike the movie. But if you're like, if you and I were hanging out, you're like, hey, bro, the Sandlot's on. I'd be like, turn on anything else.
Right. Let's watch Spider-Man 3 instead.
I don't know, man. Yeah. Like if you were to have kids and you were to show them the Sandlot and be like, hey, kids, this is what kids used to do before the internet.
I'll show them Rookie of the Year before I show them the Sandlot.
Guys, I may not look like it, but I would show a kid like Monster Squad before I'd show him the Sandlot or the Goonies. I wouldn't show a kid some sports movie. I'd show him some like crazy adventure movie that gets their imagination drawn. Then they want to go out and go on these adventures, not fucking just stand around and act like it's the 60s and never mind. Anyway, back to the question. The first James Earl Jones movie I saw in theaters, Taylor Swift, was Episode 3 because I went to his IMDb from everything that was from when I was alive. And I don't think that is okay. Rogue One, Episode 3, and The Rise of Skywalker are the only James Earl Jones movies I ever saw in theaters. So I've only seen him as Darth Vader. Everything else was on home video. But I've seen, you know, all the shit that they showed. I've seen most of it. I love the Jack Ryan movies, but those were just rental movies.
Yeah.
TLJ Screwjob, thank you very much. Little known indie J.E. Jones movies that are good. Wait. Oh, indie. Okay. James Earl Jones movies. Excuse me. I don't know. You know,
I don't know.
I'm just going to be transparent. James Earl Jones is on my radar as being a couple big iconic things and having a great voice and being in Coming to America. I mean, if you haven't seen Coming to America, which I guarantee you have, watch.
Like indie films, though? Like that's a little bit trickier because he was all over. Like he did a lot of movies and TV. Like he worked.
Yeah.
Gosh, it's hard to.
I just want to take a moment to appreciate that Script made neither of us feel bad about not knowing any indie films for James Earl Jones because even he didn't jump right into having like 16 off the top of his head like he usually would.
Well, I mean, he did a lot of like TV movies and things of that nature. But like on the actual like indie or small scale stuff, like probably not until more recently. And even then, those ones didn't get a whole lot of coverage. Maybe like the Annihilation of Fish. I remember that was kind of a smaller film.
Annihilation of Fish?
Yeah.
That's a title.
Yeah, it's just about an eccentric black and white couple find real companionship and romance. It's him
cute.
with what's her name? Well, Margot Kidder's in it, I know that. but she's not.
I heard Margot, and immediately for a second I thought you were going to say Robbie, and then I was like, wait, that wouldn't make
No,
sense.
talented Margot.
Oh,
Lynn Redgrave,
so
that's who it was.
mean.
Yes.
okay. I can't give you a recommendation, TLJ Screwdriver. I literally went through everything James Earl Jones ever started. I don't know 99% of it. Like, seriously, the first thing he ever did that I know off the top of my head is Star Wars. No, wait, Jesus of Nazareth. We had to watch that in grade school. So yeah. Sorry, he was on Dr. Kildare. Cool. 1960s James Earl Jones is cool. Jason Evangelista, thank you very much. Hail, WCBS. Hi, guys. Well, thank you, Jason Evangelista, for joining us tonight, and hail to you, my friend. Crack says, Hal Jordan Green Lantern, Chris Pine on bringing back, Hal Jordan Green Lantern, Chris Pine or bring back Ryan Reynolds. Definitely not Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah, no.
I think Chris Pine could actually knock a Hal Jordan role out of the park.
Isn't he too old, though?
Right, and he would have to play a slightly older, Hal, like a middle-aged Hal at this point, I think, because he has aged a bit in the last couple of years, but there's, stuff you can do with makeup and whatnot, and he's still got all of his hair, so all they'd really have to do would be some of that, like, just for men crap on his, and he shouldn't even have a beard anyway, just make him clean-shaven, it'll be fine.
Yeah, well, Chris Pine's only 44 years old. He's not that much older than everybody here on the panel.
Yeah, he's like 7 years older than me, or 8 years older than me. So that's not even
pretty young. So he's
still fairly young looking. He's still a good looking dude, and he can play that role. Because here's the thing, and I know people freaking hate the J.J. Abrams, the Calvin trilogy, Star Trek films. However,
only the third one.
His Kirk in those movies is so similar to Hal Jordan. It's not even funny. Like I thought this. Back when I saw Trek 09, I was like, this dude could play Hal Jordan.
Yeah, because he's too arrogant to be Kirk.
Yeah.
Because Hal Jordan is a little bit arrogant. But like
that's where my Trek ignorance stems from. And I've never made two bones about that or been, anything but upfront about that. And that's why I don't feel any shame about liking those films. But also recognizing I'm also not a Trek guy. So that's fine. But yeah, like I think he could kill that role, and I would be 100% here for it. If they announced that, I'd be back on board with guns like Green Lantern plans, because right now I'm like, all I know is that Nathan Fillion is playing Guy Gardner, who's my least favorite Lantern. I wish they'd just kill him off for good, and I'm mad because I love Nathan Fillion. And he could also play, if he was a little younger. You don't get away with it as easily with him, because he's not quite in the same shape that Chris Pine is.
Yeah, unfortunately, they missed the boat with doing him live action. They went with Ryan Reynolds instead of him, even though he lobbied for it.
Dude, and Firefly era Nathan Fillion would have been a perfect Jordan.
100%.
Now I'm just depressed. All right, let's move on. Next super chat. Thanks, Crack.
Sorry, I got distracted. They just announced another Beetlejuice figure, which I guess I need. Fuck.
Oh, okay.
This one comes with this. It's this one now.
Oh, that's a good one.
Oh, nice. Yeah. That's pretty good, actually.
By the end
I'm like avoiding
every Beetlejuice figure ever. Huh.
I'm currently avoiding adding any more figures to any of my pre-order sites right now, because I just looked at my Big Bad Toy Store list.
Yeah.
And thankfully, they're pretty spread out. But my Ghidorah, that's like 18 inches tall or something like that, is supposed to come in at some point this month. And then I have like a few month break. And then I start getting every couple of months another one coming in. And these are the Hiya Toys ones. Anybody that's a Godzilla fan, if you're interested in getting the Monsterverse or even the non-Monsterverse, because they've got some Godzilla -1 figures. Hiya Toys, this not a sponsored show. I wish we were. That'd be great. Get the Hiya Toys.
I'll promote them.
Yeah, do it.
They already.
In fact, Hiya Toys. If you come across this video, you should sponsor WCBS, because Jeff is the toy guy.
Yeah, and I enjoy quality and the price. That's why I like Hiya Toys, because they're reasonable. It's like I saw the ad today. They're like doing a checkoff from the Kelvin Star Trek, but he comes with real clothes. It's like 10 years ago, I thought maybe one day standard figures will come dressed like little dolls to look more realistic. That's the point. Now that Hyatt Toys is doing it, you know that there's a price point and that it'll be like that. So that's what a Hyatt Toys commercial would sound like, Andrew, if we had a sponsorship.
That was pretty dang good. I'm not going to lie. Like, honestly, you should clip that, post it to Twitter, and tag Hyatt Toys' account and be like, dude, it could be this easy.
Yeah, let me...
I'll even help promote their Godzilla shit.
Let me just take a timestamp. I literally did. There we go.
Excellent. The SH, because here's the thing, SH Monster Arts are overpriced and kind of underwhelming in terms of their accuracy to the models. So, well, that's my spiel on that.
Oh no, the reason I'm so adamant about Beetlejuice isn't because like, oh man, this movie was so great, I have to buy shit because I like the new movie. I didn't realize it, but I did look at my like inventory and a couple other things. I'm only like 1 or 2 shy of owning everything already. So I thought, why not just keep up with it? Saying like, for the small couple things I need, I'll have them all. And then I can just say, I got every Beetlejuice figure because I like the character that much. So that's like literally the reason why I'm going to do it. Then I'll just
good enough
have them all to have them all. Because I don't collect like entire waves of toys, but I will go for like entire, things produced of a character. Hell, I got a Christmas ornament of Beetlejuice up there next to Axel Foley. So, thank you, Xavier to God. I don't see how Tom's Spider-Man would be into Michelle.
And after you see Gwen Stacy and Mary Jane, you'd be like, "Who's Michelle?"
Yeah. Well, maybe that would be a really great joke. Is like
not even after Betty Brant.
Well, yeah, she's an older lady. I don't think a Disney Spider-Man movie would dare have an older woman in Spider-Man hook up. I mean, I think everyone in the audience would think it's kind of funny, but Disney would be afraid.
I mean, Betty Brant was only 4 years older than Peter, if I'm not mistaken. Something pretty.
It's when he was an adult.
No,
to be fair.
He met her when he was in high school still. So
that's when he liked her.
Yeah,
that's true. That is true.
That's his first. I mean, technically, Liz Allen, like in Amazing Fantasy, she makes fun of him for that one issue, and then the Daily Bugle debuts in the next. I've read way too much Spider-Man. I need to stop.
No. You have not read way too much Spider-Man. You've read enough Spider-Man.
I gotta read the newspaper strips next because those are all John Romita art. So, or Larry Lieber. He's good, but he's not Romita.
Do it.
Victor Creed. I said Coming to America at the beginning of the show. I've said it multiple times. Coming to America is like
it's true.
Yeah, I love Star Wars, but Coming to America kind of shares the same rarefied air. I've always wanted to do this. Well, okay, I've done it. Let me take that back. I've done it on balconies many times. I will go out on a balcony at night and I will scream out, "Yes, yes, fuck you too!" Just like in Coming to America. Like nobody gets it, but I always have a good laugh. So I love Coming to America. Let's see. Looking at the super chats here, somebody said I had missed one, but I got the window pulled.
It'll be up above Cracks or Crakes. I don't know how the hell
the one it goes TLJ Screwjob, Jason Evangelista, Crake, Xavier to God, Taylor Swift.
Huh?
Really?
Do you see it?
Yeah, I see it.
Oh, dude, I don't. Please read it. It is not in this window at all. Please.
Weird. Okay. Yeah. CY99, thank you for the $5 super chat. He says, really nice to be catching another one of these streams. You guys are the best. No, you are the best because you keep the lights on.
I appreciate it. Yeah, I'm sorry that it didn't show up. Like it's a special tab on StreamYards and it doesn't show up. So I hope no one has had any of those not show up on my end because, well, that kind of pisses me off.
And they want $89.99.
And they're trying to freaking get $90 a month out of you.
Yeah.
They can kiss your half white ass.
Yeah. Or the black ass. They can kiss all of it. Freddie Delgado said I missed one too. Would you go back and look at that one for me if you can find it? Because it's not showing up.
Yeah.
I would not.
Freddie Delgado. Let's see.
We will wait for Freddie's. And then John Thomas, thank you very much in advance.
Freddie. Oh yeah, says for $4.99. Thank you, Freddie. Hail WCBS. I can speak. That's fine. I'll take a Joe Hendry.
Oh, absolutely. Let's give you a Joe Hendry because all you have to do is
Freddie.
say his name and he appears. Yeah, and look, seriously, please let me know if you've had any issues. I don't ever try to not read stuff. We're not one of those channels. It just
Jeff is usually great about getting to all you guys. So Streamlabs might just have something going on up its ass right now tonight. So
do me a favor,
tag me in the chat so that I
Yeah.
see it highlighted, because I have the stream pulled up on my other monitor. Tag me and I'll see it and I'll pull it up.
And also, too, folks, if you're watching at home and you ever see that, remind me like the guys are doing, and I'll have someone else on the show go look, because, like I said, we pride ourselves on that. But we got to do something. We said his name. It's time, because I believe.
Say his name and he appears. I believe in Joe Hendry.
Yeah. We went to breakfast before the Bengals game this weekend, and yeah, it was embarrassing. So we're done talking about football forever. But on the way back from breakfast, my friend's like, "Hey, check this out!" And on his touchscreen in his car, Joe Hendry's head was like in a little button, and he pressed it, and then the song started to play.
That's amazing.
Yeah, he had like a tile set up from his phone or whatever. I was like, that's awesome. So
that
Phil,
is
I'm
too
glad we
funny.
listened to I Believe in Joe Hendry. Yes, he does look like a male escort.
Respect.
But thank you to Freddie and CY98. Appreciate you guys. John Thomas, thank you very much for your very generous super chat. He says, I saw Star Wars 4 and 6. I don't remember why I didn't see The Empire Strikes Back, but Roots on TV first. Jack Ryan movies, Field of Dreams, Coming to America. Also was in Amazon getting stuff and somehow was suggested a Type 2 phaser, and I bought it.
Oh. I mean, why not?
The is pretty good.
Why not?
TOS, man.
I think impulse buys are my favorite thing. Folks in the chat, like John Thomas just shared with us, share us your favorite impulse buys. Like, is it a daily, or is it a National Enquirer? Is it a Snickers bar? I have bought stupid stuff. My greatest impulse buy, though, is usually like batteries or beef jerky. I always tell myself I don't need more beef jerky, but I buy it. So
mine's more or less pizza. Yeah, that's an impulse buy.
That's a pretty good. That's way better than my answer. I was gonna say like $1,500 worth of resin statues.
Oh, Taylor Swift. Also, here's another one that didn't pop up. I will read here. Sorry, Taylor Swift's pop up says Minecraft forgot that I saw Field of Dreams in theaters. Let's read that as well before I go back to John Thomas's. Sorry, folks. Thank you, StreamYards. There we go. But those are all great movies. I wish I could have seen the original Star Wars. Technically, I guess I can say I saw Star Wars first because I did see the special edition in '97. So that would have been just more Darth Vader. But
that also been the first time James Earl Jones was credited as the voice of Darth Vader too, because he wasn't even credited in Revenge of the Sith until a few years
after.
They
started doing that's crazy.
Weird though. I mean, just weird.
Yeah, I mean, it adds to the allure though. You're like, who was that guy?
Right.
Yeah.
That's the one weird joke in that 70s show where Kitty's like, wait, I know that voice, James Earl Jones, when she's like making fun of his voice in the end.
Yeah.
Darth Vader's great. But what was I going to say to John Thomas about something? Well, I just completely blanked on that one. But you saw some great movies, man. I don't know why you didn't see Empire Strikes Back. Maybe it was going to be too scary. I don't know.
Maybe you just missed it. I don't know. I mean, I will say this. James Earl Jones has 190 film and TV credits, so chances are you saw a couple of things he was in.
The man has been working.
Yeah.
The man didn't sit on his butt for 90 years.
Show, man, yeah.
Yeah, and here's something I'm thankful for. It is sad that we lost such a legendary voice, a legendary actor. However, I'm thankful that he's one that we didn't lose early. Right, because there are cases where you get just an incredible talent that they're gone too soon. The man lived a full life.
Oh yeah.
So thank God for that,
folks. If I go and scroll up in the regular chat, it'll show up, but in the super chat window that it's supposed to be in, it didn't. So CY98,
that's stupid.
There we go. We got you on screen. Thank you. Yeah, I don't get it either. But John Thomas, thank you very much. This is CNN. What?
Very meta.
Without going into a rant, Andrew, $700 PlayStation, yes or no?
Just get a computer.
Yeah.
No, I'm not doing that. I'll tell you why. I didn't even bother doing the freaking $500 PlayStation when they came out with the PS5 because I had just built a gaming PC that could run things better than that thing, and I didn't even spend that much more than it. Like, I built a fairly like mid-spec PC, and this was back in 2020 is when I built this thing. And it can still run. Like, I even tested the beta. So my birthday's on Sunday. 2 days after that, Final Fantasy 16 comes out on PC finally, and I've been waiting for that because I wanted to play it, but it was initially a PS5 exclusive, and like it'll come out on PC because Square Enix is gonna be like, yeah, we want an install base that's larger than 25 people. So that's coming out on the 17th. And I'm like, fantastic. They thankfully put out a demo that you could play like the first so many hours of just to see if it actually runs on my rig. Runs perfectly fine. I can run it on high settings. Like, great. I have zero reason to spend $700. Because here's the thing. That $700 console doesn't get you a disk drive. You got to pay an extra $80 for that.
Yep.
To play online with your friends, that's another, $120 a year now is what it is, something like that for PlayStation Plus. And I get upkeep servers, fine, okay, but like if we're compounding everything and we're adding things all together as a complete package deal, you're now spending closer to $900 for only a few $100s more than that. I could upgrade my graphics card to run anything I want for the next handful of years far better than anything that thing's gonna do. I'm sorry. Not interested. There have been a total of 3 games that have released for the PS5 as temporary exclusives that I have wanted to play and wish that I had gotten to play them on my PC at launch. Stellar Blade, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and Final Fantasy 16. You know what's happening to all 3 of those? They're coming to Steam. So I don't care. Like, why am I gonna? I'm not gonna spend that kind of money on that.
No. And I'm a console guy. The computer that we run on is a gaming PC. It can run anything I really want to play on it, but I don't want to play a lot of the stuff that people like. I don't know. PC
and there's nothing wrong with that.
The thing is, like, sitting in front of my computer, even with a controller, I took it in the other room. I have an Xbox branded controller that I can plug in. This is Bluetooth. Sure. I can do all that stuff. I got all the peripherals. I just want to sit down and look at a big TV. I want to sit down on my couch and I want to play.
Mm-hmm.
And I now have a new addiction that I'm embarrassed of. But I played that Call of Duty beta and I got 28 kills in my first game. And then I kept kicking ass. And I went, oh, I'm buying this. Luckily, it's on Game Pass. So, folks,
nice.
I'm fully committing because I actually assembled a team of guys. Kendo and Kendo and Nick now have Xbox Series X's. And my other friends, my buddy just got a regular PS5. So we're going to basically have a Call of Duty team that will Twitch stream. And you guys can watch us go on adventures.
Dude, do it.
Yeah, we are. I
had
way too much fun with that shit. Like, I never try to boast, oh, I'm so good at something. But I was just so inspired. I was just running, boom, 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 headshot.
That's
only
awesome.
2 rounds did I not do well because I accidentally switched my gun and couldn't figure out how to change it back before the match started. Fuck, come on, go back. Once I got it back, man, I was unstoppable. I was running through these trains. I was diving. I was hitting guys midair as they were trying to dive over me.
That's awesome. I love it.
Yeah,
I love to hear it.
The thing is, like, I haven't had that much fun gaming in a while, and I was like on this new like pro gaming mode where I've been playing the Crash Bandicoot remastered trilogy.
The Insane trilogy. They did a great job with that.
Oh, it's so fun, man! Like, I'm working my way through the original Crash Bandicoot. I didn't have those as a kid. I had a demo, but I was more of a Nintendo kid. So I'm like catching up on these old games and I'm having fun. And I'm like, man, okay, maybe I'm going to bring gaming a little more into my life. Not too much because I got work to do, but like a little more. And then I saw this and I went, like I was thinking about a PlayStation 5 because I wanted to play Spider-Man and Wolverine. I even Googled the other day. Does Spider-Man die in Spider-Man 2 on PS4? 5. I had to know because I'm like, I'm not going to support this.
No, he doesn't. He just gives up the mantle and tells Miles he's got this.
Wait, is that really how it goes?
Yeah.
Oh, well, thanks, because now I don't want it. Like, I read it as like, oh.
Yeah, he says, you've got this. I don't need to do this anymore.
Well,
I'm gonna be with my mid-ass, like, Conan the Barbarian jaw MJ, and you can be Spider-Man. That's basically what he said.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go. God, I'm just gonna become a
Just
guy and
replay the
play
first one, man. Just replay
I
the first
did.
one. The first
Played
one's a
it,
fantastic game.
buddy. That is the only PS4 game that I 100%ed, like platinum trophy, everything. If there was an inch of New York to explore, I did because it was awesome. And the best part
You and
was
me both.
that main suit. Like, okay, the original suit that was in that game, that was perfection. I bought the hot toy. That thing is awesome looking. Like, that game was great. And you could dress up a Sam Raimi Spider-Man or the video game version or the cartoon version. It was cool. What a great...
It had my one of my favorite suits in it. You get the Spider-Man or the Spider Armor Mark IV in there. And I have a mod that gives me the Amazing Spider-Man 2 suit.
Oh, yeah,
I love using the classic suit. That like when you unlock the one you were just talking about, when you can unlock the classic suit that's like not destroyed.
Yep, that's all I wore in that game. Like, seriously, I played through that whole setting.
It was a perfect replication.
Yeah, like, don't try to fix what's not broken. The Spider-Man costume, they kind of perfected it. Honestly, the first appearance is almost the same as it is now, but they perfected it by like 1967, and it didn't really change ever. So we're cool. We don't need to change it and reinvent the wheel. Batman has like 90 different designs, and I don't even know what the hell I'm looking at half the time. But someone in the chat says the Arkham Asylum and City games are better than those Spider-Man PS4 game. How do you guys feel on the panel that have played both?
I liked Spider-Man 2 for PS2 better than the Spider-Man 4 for the PS4.
Really?
Or Spider-Man 2 for PS4,
Really?
personally. I just felt like you could explore...
Because I loved that game as well.
I think the PS2 one was a better version of it because you could explore every single part of Manhattan in 2004 at that time. It was very authentic, and I know this because literally after playing that game for like months on end during the winter and then going to New York the following year, I was able to navigate all 5 boroughs pretty effectively because I'd already done it virtually, and the accuracy was like shockingly good. So yeah, like, and the other part too, the gameplay was awesome, and you went through story mode and through just regular stopping crimes all over the city mode, and I mean it was pretty good.
And you had Bruce Campbell.
You also had Bruce Campbell, and I think a lot of those mechanics kind of have stayed true for a lot of Spider-Man games since. So I'm not easily impressed by any of the subsequent ones because it's like,
fair enough,
that one did it first. As for like the Batman games, I think Arkham City was probably a little bit better than Arkham Asylum, but you know they were still very good Batman simulation games.
I love the Arkham trilogy as a whole.
I like Knight as well.
Yeah, I'm one of the few people, and by few I mean there's like 5 of us that enjoyed Knight the most out of all of them, even though I would say City's a better game overall. But what was most people's problem with the game, I actually really liked, which was the Batmobile. I hate that they relegated the Deathstroke fight to the Batmobile. That was stupid. They didn't need to do that. They should have made that a close quarters, CQC, like heavy, like you got to be countering constantly because Deathstroke's going to whoop your ass otherwise type of a boss battle. I think that was a missed opportunity, such a missed opportunity. Plus the whole Jason Todd thing, I could see coming from a mile away. And when I say a mile away, when they showed the first trailer with him, I was like, I turned to my buddy at work because I was still working at GameStop at the time. I was an assistant manager. I hadn't been promoted yet. And I was like, that's Jason Todd. Just you wait. And sure as hell, that was Jason Todd. I was like, all they did was the freaking Under the Red Hood story, but they just changed his name. Okay, that's fine. Like, he looked cool. I liked Arkham Knight's design, but it was just like, come on, guys. Like, really, we don't need to try and be cute about this. But the game looked beautiful. It played great. I loved the feel and look of the Batmobile in that game. That's one of my all-time favorite Batmobile designs. But I do hate
the Keaton one as soon as I could.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I can't blame you there. My all-time favorite Batmobile design swaps between animated series and Batman Forever.
That's a good one.
I love the Batman Forever design. So I was this close to getting the McFarlane Toys one, but I was like, I've spent so much money on figures this year. can't.
I got the animated series Batmobile from McFarlane.
Did you? That gold series? Oh,
yeah. It would look it. It's actually
that's so cool.
It's a good deal because that was originally released from DC Direct and it was over $100. It was like $130 maybe, and that's over 10. Well, not over 10 years. Excuse me, like 5 to 7 years ago is when that was released. And the fact that he released it for $69 or $79, all the same features, same mold, same everything, and you can't even get a secondhand one on eBay for that price. Like that's a win.
He produced it on and it was only a slightly larger scale, really, in terms of like how many were produced. So yeah, dude, that's a steal. I'm kind of jealous.
I still have the original one from the first release back.
Those
in
sold
92.
out fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can pull out. It has like back glider in it. You pull out the cockpit and it flies around. I even have the Batwing of that version as well. Like all those vintage ones in like peak condition. But like the McFarlane stuff is pretty good. The only thing I wished, I mean, I don't know. I know why they didn't do it back in the day. But I really do wish that they made the feature film Batmobile and the animated series Batmobiles 2-seaters, so you can put in Batman and Robin. They're always single seaters.
Agreed. I agree with that entirely.
But luckily for me, I got a 3D printer, so I can build my own one from scratch with that same shell.
There you
go. When you perfect it, I'll buy one from you. Name your price.
That'd be awesome, man.
I still have a Mezco, I did pre-order this. They have an animated series like figure pack where you get the Batmobile, Batman, Robin, Joker, Harley Quinn, and maybe Catwoman. But it's like $100 and whatever bucks. This little 5-inch scale. Hopefully the Batmobile has 2 seats in it. It would be nice because one weird thing I go on about wanting articulation, but a nice 5 points of articulation figure with great paint. I don't know. Maybe I'm nostalgic for it, but.
Yeah. Well, one of the things I've seen that's kind of weird is that I've seen some action figures with like 30 points of articulation, but they look more like robots than cool action figures because all the points of articulation don't fit normally with like a human physique. Like the shoulders are just spheres. And then they have this little bit for a bicep, and then they got another sphere for the elbow, and then their forearm is broken up into 2 parts so that the hand can rotate and then as well as bend up. And it's like that's too much. And to me, it's like more complicated parts, which means more possibility for it to break if it falls just wrong.
That's why I like McFarlane's DC Universe figures, because even though he gets lazy with the Batman molds, he reuses the same mold like a lot with the Batman figures specifically. But with all the others, there's more than your average articulation, but he doesn't go crazy with like just making it look like all of a sudden that doesn't look like a human being's arm. Like that's just a bunch of ball joints and things like that, right? Like it shouldn't look like that on the exterior. Right, that's supposed to be what it looks like on the interior.
Some of the female characters where it looks like they're wearing a diaper as opposed to having like nice smooth curves that you can pose in proper ways. And
correct.
They have a new Frazetta figure out like that.
Oh yeah,
yeah. It looks like a painting, but it's still kind of clunky looking.
See, McFarlane, I want to say it was like 3 months ago, came out with a new Starfire figure that was part of like his. It's either gold series or platinum series. I can't keep track of all these things.
I don't know the difference.
I don't either. To be honest, I just saw Starfire and I was like, that Corey is mine, because they did a phenomenal job with the mold on that figure. That they did not chintz at all in terms of quality and design. I was pleased.
I will check it out. I'm kind of toy collected out for a while until Beetlejuice, but that's it. I do want the new crust. The new Simpsons stuff looks fun, but that's just something to collect because it's cheap and have to look for Bart Simpson. They're in the 90s style packages, which that's fun. I guess I'm nostalgic for some shit that I didn't even have as a kid. Xavier to God, thank you. Fair. Unfortunately, Mortal Kombat has fallen into the modern day stuff. They made the women more covered up, and now they have gender swapped Sector and Cyrax.
I did see that, and that's kind of sad.
They're robots.
They're robots, right? Yeah.
Pointless change, I guess. Then again, I don't play Mortal Kombat anymore because like they had killed off Liu Kang and he was a ghost, and I'm like, I don't want to play as a ghost of Liu Kang. I want to play as real Liu Kang. So
they brought him back in, what was it, Mortal Kombat 10? I think, or 9. One of the two they brought him.
No, he was. I don't think he was in. He was in one of those already, but then he died. I just don't like Mortal Kombat anymore. The original timeline and the original story was much more interesting to me.
That's fair.
But, yeah, I guess they're more covered up than the 90s. There's like Sonya was always covered up in that first game. She had like tights on and like a midriff shirt and like a headband. So she was like,
what it is that they super covered up. And here's the thing: these characters have always had multiple costumes, so it's one thing to have multiple costumes. Maybe some of those costumes are more covered up than others. That's perfectly fine. What it is with Mortal Kombat 11, they changed their defaults. And to be fair, I haven't played 11. I've only watched some footage, so I'm not going to speak to firsthand experience here. So if I am incorrect, I'm fully willing to be proven wrong. So if somebody wants to correct me in the chat, please feel free. They did change at least their default costumes to be just way, 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 way more covered up for characters like Kitana, Melina, and Jade at the very least.
Jade.
It was all of those bad bitches. They covered them up. Now, again, to be clear, that's just at least their default costumes. Alternates, I don't know. Because if it's a matter of, and I'm horrible at Mortal Kombat, so I'm not rushing to play it myself and find out because I'm really bad at the game. I'm a Soul Calibur and Dead or Alive guy. So if it's just a matter of the default costumes are these covered up ones, but their other ones are like more like their original ones, then people are bitching about nothing. And if that's the case, I will actually laugh my ass off.
I'm the guy that sells tits and art. I got to put that on its website so then I can sell that book. But boobs are good. That's all I'll say. I'm a man. We all are men, you know?
Yes.
Be respectful, but just, be yourselves. Whatever, people.
Chat, if you want to keep abreast with Jeff Hicks art, get tits and art.
Yes, when it's available, I will let you all know because I have people literally writing me letters every day. Jeff, can I buy it? Maybe. There's just no excuse. I just got to do it. Once I get Woke Busters in, I will, rebuild my comic book website, but I'll keep stealingsolo.com since you can go there and get the greatest Star Wars parody since Spaceballs. You want to really stick it to these Disney Star Wars shills that are trying to get channels demonetized. Remind people of the Fandom Menace. Go over to stealingsolo.com and get yourselves a copy of the Fandom Menace edition. I got to send more out tomorrow, and supplies are limited. So check out today's video. Listen to my apparently a legendary rant on, Andrew's words.
It was your best rant that I've heard in years. At least. It was great.
Well, I'll be honest. I've been really paying attention to what people say about what they like about the videos, because when I meet fans and stuff, I don't ask them pointless questions to just fake engage. I'm actually gauging, one, how they interact, meaning how much they're a fan of the show and what they like about it. And people are like, we like when you savagely tear stuff apart. That's what we like about the toy videos. So I'm like, keeping that in mind. That's why today was just very fun. I was like, this cat lady deserves it. So she's got a pumpkin spice latte waiting on her in the morning. She'll be very happy. But, until then, I had to have my fun. Xavier to God, thank you very much. Did you know that Grand Theft Auto 5 has the Batmobile in the game? I did not know. But did you know, Xavier to God, that I suffered a great loss the other day? I wanted to play GTA 5 so bad. And then I realized that I lost my copy in California. So I can't rebuy it. I bought that game twice already, and I won't give Rockstar any more money. Maybe even on... what the best up part is, man? Before they announced the PS5 Pro price, I was like, look, I don't need it. But when Grand Theft Auto 6 comes out, I think I'll get that new PlayStation, and I'll play it in super mode and really enjoy it because I love GTA. It's not my favorite series, but it's the series I've clocked the most hours on by a factor of 10. Even Zelda I haven't played GoldenEye more than Grand Theft Auto, but it's very close. I still play GoldenEye most days. Sorry, it's just my thing. But long story short, I wanted to do all that upgrading. I thought this is going to be fun. I'm an adult. I can do this. And then, come on, get out of here, Sony. Read the room, man. It's just on principle. I can't support it. Xavier God says MK9 from 2011 is the best Mortal Kombat game and peak. That is a very good game, Xavier God.
I did play that one. I sucked at it, but I did play it for a little bit.
I was good at that one. As Scorpion's my dude in that game. Once as Scorpion, I made it through the entire first chain, all flawless victories. And then I got to Shao Kahn. And I beat him in my first try, but it wasn't a flawless victory, so can't lie. But Xavier to God, I think Mortal Kombat 2 is the greatest Mortal Kombat game. It took everything that made the first one good and exciting, refined it, perfected the formula, and it really is what I consider peak Mortal Kombat because it's before the introduction of Outworld and robots and these other things. It was always this vaguely martial artsy, violent fantasy that was just out there. It was different. It was cool. And that's why I love that first Mortal Kombat movie, but not the next one at all, because it really captures what Mortal Kombat 1 was. It's essentially Enter the Dragon. And Mortal Kombat 2 is that, just with better fighting, better fatalities. It's funnier. That's why it's my favorite. It's got the best menu screen music too. I have listened to that. It introduces the Toasty from Dan Forden. But if I'm going to say I got to say Mortal Kombat 9 is probably my second or third favorite one. I got it on PS3. I love it. Xavier to God, you're preaching to the choir on that one. See, it's from the animated series. I'll have to check it out. Let's see. Neil loves MK3. We also have, MK9 says Miss Ninja Julian. Nat Your Average Nerd says, as a lady myself, boobs are works of art in the human form. Well, thank you, Nat Your Average Nerd.
Very correct.
I agree. Thank you for hanging out with us tonight, folks. Power Glover says, man, if they cover up the girls in the next Soul Calibur, I'm going to be pissed. Shrebels08 says, hashtag huge breast lives matter. Would you wear that on a shirt? I'll create a secondary store without my name on it, and you can buy it for me still.
That's good.
Oh, I have a super soft spot for Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3 for Super Nintendo. I played that a ton back in the day. Power Glover, that same soft spot would be for Mortal Kombat Trilogy for me on the PlayStation. So, Ultimate 3 and all those versions are very similar, and that's cool. I don't dislike them at all. I guess I really preferred the classic Sub-Zero and Scorpion, and then in 3 you get the scarred Sub-Zero and is Scorpion even in Mortal Kombat 3? Regular edition? Okay, sorry, I remember him now. One of the regular Sub-Zero's not. That's what it is. And so when we get to the trilogy one, they're all there, and I played the shitload of that one because Mortal Kombat, man, that was. If they ever make a movie on my life, there will have to be a 2-minute time or 2 minutes of the film spent on my love of Mortal Kombat because I was never knocking out fatalities left and right. But I once entered a Mortal Kombat tournament and I didn't get eliminated in the first round or the second round, so I don't suck. I'm a Street Fighter guy these days because better gameplay. It's a lot more fun. Mortal Kombat feels too much like Injustice. While Injustice was great, it was also 10 years ago. I'm kind of over it. So, guys, we've pretty much talked about everything we set out to do. We had some fun with the audience. The conversation was pretty good tonight. It was a little light because of the election, or the debate. So we knew the numbers would be a little different. So we wanted to give a little different show. And basically, you got to hear us go on about Spider-Man for 2 hours. So hopefully you didn't.
I mean, cape shit, right?
I love it. I love it there.
Or non-cape shit, I guess.
Yeah. Web shit. There you go.
Yeah, web shit.
Steve, I really liked Black Ops 6. You see, I try to want to consume what is considered the best. And I don't mean to sound pretentious, but I want to just try all games. I want to see what everything is about. But I like Call of Duty, and I'm tired of acting like it's garbage. I know it's a joke, it's a meme, but it plays great. And that's why I like it. It's not
mechanically, it's a strong franchise.
That's all I'm trying to do, because all I do is really play the multiplayer. I love Halo. Halo's got great multiplayer. I still play it to this day. But I know a lot of people are like, oh, you need to be playing high art games. When I listen to real gamers talk, they're like, you should play Hi-Fi Rush. It is a good game, and I enjoy it. but I had way more fun running around shooting people in Call of Duty. Like, it's a nice cathartic release, especially for a guy like me who only has maybe 20 minutes. You can't get into a long story game. Like when I moved back from California and needed to reset the batteries, Legend of Zelda. And then I was back on with everything. But now it's like, oh man, Metal Gear Solid 3 is getting that remake coming out. I love Metal Gear Solid. I own it on PlayStation 2, but I actually never played Metal Gear Solid 3 all the way through. So it's like, oh, I'm going to go back and play it now. But I don't have like a 90-hour window of time to really explore the Cold War jungle. So I'll just have to wait. But I'm glad you're enjoying it, Steve. I enjoyed the beta. I then downloaded another version of Call of Duty, but it was like 95 gigs. So I just walked away, and it's been available, but I'll play it another time. Xavier God says, don't miss my last super chat. Thank you. The best version of Mortal Kombat 2 is Shaolin Monks. Is that on PS2? I remember that one. I stopped liking Mortal Kombat once it transitioned into 3D. It went from being at the forefront of everything, and then I got into GoldenEye. And GoldenEye, like pro wrestling, are two things that once I discovered them, I was different. And if it wasn't GoldenEye or something in that vein, I didn't want to touch it. And then 3D gaming was exciting on the N64. We talk about console generations and how they feel new. For me as a kid, the N64 was a whole new world once you got it. The Super Nintendo was great, maybe better, but I'm going to go N64 for personal favorite. You got to be James Bond or go on an actual adventure. You didn't just have to watch Link walk across a map and swing a sword like this or spin in a circle. You know, there were complex camera angles, and it felt like a movie back then. It was exciting. But, you know, Mortal Kombat just didn't make that transition well. I lost interest. I got back in. I played Deadly Alliance. Wait, no. I played one of them on PS2 that was okay. And then I didn't play it again until 9, and then it was awesome. And I loved MK9. I own it. It's better than Street Fighter 4. There is a name we haven't heard in a while, Mareth Theoline. What is up, my friend? Welcome back. Good to see you. But Xavier to God, I'm loving talking about Mortal Kombat. I love Mortal Kombat. I've never made it not known. It's one of my favorite series of games. Even the bad ones are fun to play. Like, Sub-Zero sucks.
I enjoy it. I've just never been good at it.
Mortal Kombat or Mortal Kombat Sub-Zero?
Mortal Kombat in general, just the whole franchise. I've never been good at it.
It was just something I really liked as a kid because my mom would try to play it with me, and she's terrible at video games, but she was good at Mortal Kombat. She figured out how to play. Mainly, she figured out how to do a couple moves over and over, and they were hard to block. So she was, we were playing. But it's fun. Like, even as an adult, I'm like, hey, Mom, try this fighting game or try this. And she gets all like into it. She's like, and just, she can't, but she'll watch me play a game. And she was like, oh, this is great. So she thinks gaming is still cool too. I always tell her, like, this is fun to talk to her. She's like, I can't believe how different it looks, how real it looks. Because I think back to like Super Nintendo was what was, the standard when I was growing up. And they looked like cartoons, like little sprites. And they looked great. As a kid, you're like, this is awesome. And then like, you can't imagine what it's like, especially for me, like in wrestling. When I was playing them as a kid, they would take a picture of like The Rock's face and just put it on a polygon, or not polygon,
yeah,
and like put on a nose, and they would sometimes animate the face, and it looks great. You're like, wow, this looks so real. But nowadays, you play it, and you're like, holy shit, there's a 5 o'clock shadow in his eyebrow moves, and this and that, and there's hair. You're just amazed with how real this shit looks. And thankfully, there's some good stuff out there, but side note, any games that's a service game like Concord, that's the wrong direction for gaming. Like, no more of that stuff, please. Let's just make it cool.
I think that I think the live service approach to gaming has a very limited pool to where gamers are willing to tolerate it. And I think we're at that cap for it already with games like Fortnite and was Apex Legends, if people still play that. I don't even know. I think you only get a couple of those. And then if people try to add more on top of that, you're just doomed to failure because people are like, no, I don't want to have a game that I'm just like feeling pressed to just buy a bunch of skins for and crap like that every single time I log in. Give me a game. Sure, maybe I got to pay $60 for it, but I'm getting a game. I'm getting an actual full experience, right? So that's my opinion on live service games. I think you only get a couple of those per generation, and then after that, anything else, like, you should not expect to succeed.
Yeah. Sorry, I had just received a message and I was trying to listen to you and respond to that. I apologize.
Multitask. Nah, you're good.
Especially when I'm
Multitasking. We're at a genetic disadvantage when it comes to multitasking. We have a Y chromosome.
Yeah. I can maybe listen to a podcast and play a video game, but that's kind of the extent. Well, I can draw and do anything. Not anything that would require my hands to do something else,
Sure.
but I can draw on an airplane, in a car, maybe on a boat. I just really get lost in it. But
I do that with writing all the time. Any commuting I'm doing, I'm writing.
I can't write and listen to anything with words. It has to be strictly an instrumental. If I'm writing, it has to be strictly instrumental or ambient music. I can't do lyrical music. I can't do it.
Script, you talk about in your free time you're writing. For the last couple of years, I just get these ideas that I'll write down and then just kind of flesh out and stuff. And as I keep things going in this direction, I've kind of realized if I work at a quicker pace, I'll never get through even any of all of these if they're valid ideas. And I'm like, what do you do in that situation? How do you, I don't know, how would you approach trying to think
triage?
Essentially you got to do a triage. You have to prioritize what you think you can get done and and be confident that you're achieving the maximum quality you can with that. I've got, I've written 5 screenplays in the last year and a half. I've got 4 more I'm working on right now. I don't know if I'm going to finish 2 of them, but the other 2 I know for sure I'm going to finish. And then who knows what's going to happen once I finish those 2. I might get other ideas that I might be able to do better than the other 2 I've got on the docket. My buddy who I've told you about, he has 40 scripts for comic books that he wants to do.
Nice.
And they are all
shout out to him
between 100 and 155 pages each. They are full contained stories.
Okay, so these are graphic novels.
They're essentially going to be a graphic novel or a trade. And I've edited 4 of them, and I'm very impressed with them. The thing is I don't know. It's going to take him the rest of his life to release them if he starts today, which is not bad because that's a lot of stories, but it's something that a lot of writers do. Sometimes you get a flood of information and ideas and you just know how to execute them and you get them out there. And sometimes they just pop in your head and you have to divert a little bit. All I will say is that you only have to worry when you stop having things to write about. So if you never get to that point, then you're in good hands. And don't worry about the stuff that you never finish.
Thanks. I don't know. Some of this stuff with comics, especially, I prioritize Stealing Solo 2. Now the time is right for that one. So that's why projects got pushed back. It's look, I see the numbers. I know what people really like. And I figure, okay, cool. Give the people what they want. I want to tell this story. There is a twist to this that I have literally told 2 people about now. One isn't really a comic book fan, but understands it. And the other one who gets comics went, holy shit. I cannot wait to bring you that story, folks. Woke Busters was great to make. And I'm really happy it's done. It's taken care of. We're getting it finalized and printed and all that stuff. And you'll have it very soon. Be on the lookout for that. Make sure you have your backer survey your backer survey in to Kickstarter. Because every time I make an update, a couple people say, I've already done it, but then I get a few more people actually do it. So that's why I'm being safe, just to make sure everybody gets it. Because look, I'm not trying to pat myself on the back, but multiple people have read Woke Busters now. Everybody that reads it likes it, and I get the same response. It's really funny. It reminds me of a 1980s movie. So clearly I did it the right way. What I was trying to do.
I'm here for it.
So this is a book you want. We're just making sure that every little detail is perfected before it goes out. But thank you to everybody who made it a reality. And I want to let you guys know
number one.
Yes, you are, my friend. You will get yours out right away. And everybody who ever backed it, no matter the platform, you will get it. I have your information. Make sure that's up to date, and we will take care of you in your special extended way for your extra weight, and we appreciate that. But we're off to the races for the next book, and it doesn't take me this long to ever do it again. I'm a one-man army, but I got some new tools for WCVS, and when you got a story as, if I may say so myself, as hot as Stealing Solo 2, The Farce Awakens, you guys know when you're inspired. You know what it's like. So I'm excited, folks. But enough talking about comics and me. There's time for that later. So, guys, is there anything else we should talk about tonight before we go? It's kind of late, but we got more people rolling in. And I have like a rule, like I don't really cut out when new people keep rolling in. Now more people keep coming in. I guess the debate's over.
The debate must be over.
Welcome to your post-debate show.
Right?
Just
cleanse your palate of all of the horse shit with some bullshit.
Do you need to bitch about the state of America? You know what? If you need to vent, you can vent to us, folks. I just don't give my personal views, but
we might respond with a 2-hour rant on Spider-Man.
You know, if you can take your political complaints in a super chat and challenge me to turn into a Spider-Man rant, I would really appreciate that. I think that could be a show, Andrew. Don't you think?
That could be a show. That's a whole last segment right there. At the very least,
I could probably pitch you a James Bond movie too, as well. Like seriously, you're like, oh man, I'm really upset about these inflated gas prices. Well, let me write you a James Bond movie about the oil crisis, but it would be actually fun. Like
Jeff pitches a James Bond script premise based on your political super chat.
Okay, folks, we should keep this as a thing on the channel right now, because I would love for you guys to like ask Kendo how to write like a 1980s, historical drama about like the economy or something in the vein of like Top Gun or something. Like you gotta test this.
I love it.
All right, Layden Swallow likes it. Nat, your average nerd likes it.
Just do it.
Yeah. Do I still have that on here? Hold on. Gosh, sorry to take you away from me. I don't have the button, but I think I have like him like as a gift, don't I? Nope, that's
Maybe.
Michael Myers.
That's Michael Myers.
Dark Fate. That's The Rock.
Oh wow, that's a face. I forgot that face.
Yeah, when he gets slapped by Vince McMahon.
Yeah,
you knew that guy would go on to be the world's greatest actor, right?
Oh yeah,
right. Wrong. Oh, sorry. Thank you.
I love it.
I guess I don't have Shia anymore, but I do have.
Boo.
Guess what, motherfucker?
Remember him?
Yep, I do.
Exotic. Yeah.
Did you know that the same people behind the Tiger King documentary are behind the Vince McMahon documentary on Netflix, and that's going to be a dumpster fire to watch. I cannot wait.
Are they really?
Oh yeah, there's a trailer out.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's out. It's like out at the end of the month. I think it's the 25th. So
there's this weird. Okay, see, stay with me.
I'm here.
You know that. Fair. That is fair. You know that weird feeling you get when you are witnessing an absolute wreck.
Yes.
And you're like, I should not be getting any kind of entertainment satisfaction out of this, but I can't look away.
Yes.
That's kind of what I expect that to be.
Yes. It will be.
That's basically what I am anticipating that to be. I can't look away. It's like looking at the sun. I know I'm not supposed to.
Not only are we going to watch it, I'm going to get a group of wrestlers together where we're going to talk about it on a live stream for the hell of it. Because I know some people. And
I love it.
People are like, hey, we got to talk wrestling. So, folks, be on the lookout for more content in another vein. We might put it on other platforms to test and see how it grows there. But let me know what you guys like about some of the newer stuff. I've been getting a lot of positive feedback. So again, I don't ever say this to make myself feel good. I just say this to thank you guys, but also to keep reminding you to let us know what you like so I can understand what you like about what we do so we can continue to do it more efficiently. But it is fun to hear everyone's take. Like, even though we joke on the podcast, and yes, we got like hundreds of them. Like everybody would pitch us a Star Wars movie, and I'm like, that's better than the real movie. That's better than the real movie. Even the ones that were really like weird were better than the real movie. So it's kind of fun. So I do like when you guys send us like weird ideas and stuff like that. You know how to contact us. info@worldclassbullshitters.com. I miss the bestmail.com though.
I mean, look, bestmail.com is pretty darn great.
You know what, folks? Damn it, more people are back up again. Shit.
Rats! Foiled again!
By that audience.
Well, here's a random button to keep you entertained.
Excuse me, Russell, but I believe I requested the hand job.
Love Wayne's World.
It wasn't from me.
That reaction could not have been better.
No. Hey, Script, I wanted to tell you since Andrew too, don't take it like you're not involved, but we all love movie stuff. I got myself a theatrical Wayne's World poster from Dragon Con. But
Nice.
I got an official Beverly Hills Cop 2 press kit.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's got
A
Paramount
press kit for it?
Yeah, it comes in a Beverly Hills Cop folder and everything. I didn't know I needed
pretty
it.
badass as a Beverly Hills Cop fan. That's pretty darn cool.
Like with my Beetlejuice figures, it's not about just like wanting to get weird shit. It's like I do want to get everything Beverly Hills Cop ever, and it's not that hard to do. I decided to do this years ago because it was cheap shit on eBay, and I thought it was funny. And then all of a sudden, I had a collection of Beverly Hills Cop, and I was like, I'm just gonna go with it. And now we're here, and I'm like, maybe more than 2/3 of the way. Maybe I got to get some theatrical posters. That's what awesome. I was looking for. There will be in my house a section when you walk through the halls. It'll like play Axel F on a loop, and it'll just have like a life-size cutout from the movie and a couple things. And you're like, oh, okay.
Are you going to have a scale mannequin with his jacket?
I don't know. Is that weird, or is that the next step of an action figure? Because it is.
I feel like that's next step.
Yeah. You know where I actually want to take that next step first is with Power Rangers. I thought I got the original 8-inch figures. I got the 5-inch automorphs. I got the newer ones, the dolls. I thought you can't go like 18-inch Power Rangers because that's just stupid. But full-scale Power Rangers, that's brilliant.
See, yeah, 18 inches gay. Full scale, that's badass.
Between 5'7" and 6 feet Power Ranger.
Yes!
Yeah. See,
I want him to the
righteous.
American scale. Like I want my Red Ranger to be 6 feet tall. I don't want Sentai actor sizes.
I love it. That's legit.
One thing, Nat, your average nerd. Thank you for that question. I actually don't have any conventions or anything I'm really excited for this year, due to communication errors. And look, I know Nick and I will play up like issues with Horror Hound. There's no issue. It just they sometimes don't respond to a lot of people because not everything is as organized as it could be. So I'm not mad about anything because honestly, I really don't want to take the last couple boxes of Stealing Solo because I want to be able to offer the remainder. Look, the website will be up. Please buy it now if you're like hungry for the book. Don't wait because you'll really like it. But don't. I just don't want to take it there and then say, hey, on the next Kickstarter, people want to get the combo packs. And it's like, oh, we only have 20 of those available. So
you should go to SpaceCon San Antonio at the end of October and bring Stealing Solo. I'm just saying.
Oh, damn it. Well, is there tables available? Like, I don't know.
I don't know. That's not my department. I don't look into that stuff. That's our other people over at the Rippaverse that look into that kind of thing.
Well, see, I need to know the dates because I would enjoy because I would do
25th through the 27th, or 24th through the 27th, whatever the hell those days are.
That's close to my birthday. What I will do though next year is I will attend a lot more because I'll have a new book. Wokebusters will, the Kickstarter, the Indiegogo, everybody will have theirs and it'll be on the website. But you got to remember, not everybody in person knows about it, and it's really easy to sell a book in person. I don't know why. Maybe because I like to talk to people way too much. I'm like
24th through 27th. I just double checked.
So folks, go to San Antonio for SpaceCon.
Spacecon.com.
Spawn. So, but Nat, I'll be going to do a lot more next year, and I'll let you guys know. There will be shows that I go to visit, like Dragon Con, where we can have cool meetups, but then there will be shows that I will work and have the books, and there's WCBS merchandise that I give out to people. I gave out all the remaining Wokebusters pins to everybody at last year's Horror Hound. Kids loved them. I actually had a kid get really upset with me over the Wokebusters logo. He's like, "You can't do that. That's the poo emoji." And I'm like, "That's the joke, kid." And he's like, "No!" And he just got really mad at me.
Really?
Like, seriously, this little boy. I think Dion or Nick saw it. So ask them if you ever meet them, or just ask them on a show. They'll remember it. But like, he got really weirdly upset over that, and I thought, okay. But everyone else was like scanning the QR code, like, I need to know more about this book. So we're off to the races.
I love it.
I think, let's see, Jeff, Jim, and Dan, Comic-Con and Toy Show at Wright State University this Sunday, the 15th. Oh, man.
That's 5 days away, bro.
but Wright State University is only like an hour from me.
Oh, well, shoot.
Yeah, that's in Dayton. Yeah.
Oh, and it's in Ohio, so only like 16 people and 27 deer live there anyway. Right.
I love that that's the meme, but like, honestly, from about maybe 20 miles into northern Kentucky, for the next 80 miles, there isn't farmland or anything. It's just one big mega city almost.
Yeah.
Like, when we had phone books, you wouldn't get a phone book for like Cincinnati. You get this like massive phone book with so much shit for the tri-state because there's everything here. Like, when you drive up from the south, we're not Atlanta, but we're like a smaller Atlanta, or we're like
you gotta have like 12 million in that entire state, something like that.
Maybe, but when you do the greater Cincinnati area, I think it's like 2 million people. Like concerts, we get every big show. We had the Foo Fighters a couple weeks ago, so I know everyone
every
on the
big
internet,
show.
I've seen him wrestle here too. We got wrestling pay-per-views, and The Rock showed up, so that was cool.
Oh, that is cool, actually.
Even Stone Cold everybody was here. Let's see. Shrubbles08, thank you for being a member for 19 months. Thank you, Shrubbles08. Appreciate the support. Enter the meats. Power meats. And Ernest beats the meat. I'll take another.
That's terrible.
Terrible or brilliant?
That is an awful Ernest title.
You know what? I think we need to use CGI to resurrect Jim Varney and make that film with AI.
Who's that Pokemon? It's Uncle Ben.
Oh,
by the way,
no.
That was sarcasm. I don't want that to happen. Sarcasm. Guys, this has been a lot of fun. I love reading the chat. I love seeing new people hang out with us, old people come back. WCBS we're really getting closer to that 200K. Like, I know I talk about it like that because it's happening, but we've seen a nice push over the last week and it keeps growing. So help us make that change happen quicker by sharing everything we do, and just hitting the copy counts as a share. That's how YouTube counts that metric. Like, literally anytime you watch anything, every short, give it a like, even if you don't love it, just to help. It's not about our ego. It's like, look, you love us, you want us to help, you want us to grow, and you want us to get more people. That's just a quick way. Just by doing that blindly, it helps. We're not going to go, oh, we're the greatest. We're not going to get egos about it. Trust us. We've been around long enough.
But y'all are the greatest. I mean,
all I'll say is we're world class. That's all I'll say, man. Okay?
World class.
World class. I'm very proud of that. Folks, everything's been good, though. Life's been good. I'm excited to bring you more stuff. Check out our Goonies video. Check out today's video about these weirdos trying to get YouTube channels demonetized. And be on the lookout for more from us. But if you need more, you can watch our shorts. We're growing our TikTok presence, Twitter. Oh, and thank you to everybody. That call to action worked. We now have reached the threshold on Facebook for monetization. So WCBS will continue to grow its brand on a new platform. And even if you're not the biggest user of Facebook, at least go over there and join the official page. That's where we just post videos and major announcements. You'll never miss an update from the channel. But if you really want to get involved, and that's the fun part, it's not about a cause. It's about hanging out with people you like to talk about entertainment. Join our Facebook group. You just got to apply, enter the password, and agree to the one rule: be excellent to each other. That's all we ever want here. But join us over there. It's a lot of fun. And I mean, really, as long as it's like mildly related to entertainment, the conversation's open. We're pretty cool over there. So if you want to have some fun, join us. So guys, You ready to go? Laden Swallow, I didn't know they blocked it in Brazil. Huh. See, that's sometimes why I don't go into politics, because I'm not always up to date on all the information. And even though we're called world-class bullshitters, the videos that I do present to you are factual based. I do the research. I actually enjoy that part. I'm worried that I'll be too analytical. Like, never mind. But I didn't know about that, Laden Swallow. I'll have to look to that and form my own opinion. But guys, it's time to go. It's been a long night, but it's been a good night. So thank you to everybody who supported the show. One last request: support the show with a thumbs up button, and we'll be able to go out of here very happy. But until next time, folks, be smart, be safe, be cool, but always be excellent to each other.
Who is it?
Who's this? Hello?
Say again, what is it?